All right. Hello, everyone. We're ready to get started. This is now 6:30 PM. Welcome to the regular meeting for the Planning and Zoning Commission here tonight, April the 27th, 2026. We do have a quorum here tonight. You have myself, Derek Parks, the chair. To my left is Michael. He's the vice chair, and to his left is Susie Mendoza. She's a member here also. And to my right, we have Karen Stanfield, member. And to her right, we have Kevin Haley. He's also a member. City staff here tonight is Ben, Director of Development Services, and Roderick, the Planning and Zoning Manager here for the City of Red Oak. We have one consent agenda item tonight, which if you look at your handout is Roman numeral number 2, 1A, and that is approving the minutes for March the 30th of 2026. Commissioners, do you have any questions regarding the minutes from March the 30th?
No questions. I move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Greg, can you help us out with the volume?
Sir, do you have a handout? One of the handouts? You have one?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay. I was just making sure so you can follow what we're talking about.
Okay, we've got it up as high as it'll go. We'll try to talk loud as well.
All right, we're moving now to new business, which is number 2 on the handout, which is a public hearing and consider a zoning change. Request from PD 164 revised 3 to PD revised number 4 to allow construction logistics on approximately 61.6316 acres of land, identified as PIN numbers 312906, 312907, 312908 in Ellis County. Appraisal district numbers, City of Red Oak, case number Z as in zebra, C as in cat, 2626-06, requested by Michael Landwehr, requested to withdraw per applicant's request. And I guess that's one of the items.
Yes, so we're just accepting their withdrawal letter. We had to keep it on the agenda because we had already noticed it prior to getting the withdrawal request.
Okay. Thank you for that confirmation, Ben. So we moving along to number 3 on your handout. Number 3, which is conduct a public hearing and consider a zoning change from AG to PD 190 to allow office uses on the site located at 205 Pierce Road, PIN number 179978, Ellis County, City of Red Oak, case number Z as in zebra, C as in cat, 26-04, requested by Robert Brown. Staff, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commission. As you stated, this is just a request to rezone the property from agriculture to PD, mainly for office type uses. The site is already constructed for the most part. We do have a portion of the back of the back of this property that is vacant. It's not constructed. Anything is going back there. The applicant actually isn't proposing to do any type of construction in the back of that property. I zoomed out on the aerial so we can kind of take a look of where this is located. It's off of Pierce Road, not off of the Red Oak Road that turns into Pierce, just further south off of 342 where the road actually continues on Pierce Road. So kind of in this area here. So we'll take a look. We'll drop it down on our maps so we can get an aerial or get the ground view of this property. We'll drop. So it's this piece of land that's here with a building that's already constructed.
Sorry, I don't think I pulled up the
Gotcha. No
the
worries.
site plan yet.
I got you.
So this was an old dentist office that was acting as a dentist before it came into the city, and then when it came to the city, zoning was applied to it, and so we zoned everything ag that wasn't already in a zoning category. So
Right.
once they stopped using the property as a dentist office, it lost all of its non-conforming rights, and so now they have to come back in to do to add to
Right.
zoning back to the property so that they can operate an office out of it.
Right. So this is a development plan that the applicant has submitted. So as I stated before, they're going with the same layout that they have, just added a storage area that's to the north of the building. And just is going to be office uses. We removed all of the more intense type office uses from the zoning. So wanted to make sure that we didn't have anything that was going to be intense on this site that didn't make very good sense in this area. So with that, I'll stand for any additional questions you guys may have.
And just additionally, we had to do a PD because the building setback was too close to the road. So we had to write in that it could be less than the standard 25 feet.
What
So
you
that-
will see with the base zoning
Yeah.
of C1.
All right. Thank you, Roderick. This is a public hearing. Those that are in favor of this item, you can go first. Those who may be against this item can go second. Or if you have any questions, you can come to the podium also. So as of right now, agenda item 3, the public hearing is open for any questions or for or against this item. All right, can I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
So. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Public hearing has been closed for agenda item 3. Commissioners, do y'all have any questions or concerns regarding agenda item 3 tonight? Or any concerns? Questions?
How close is it to our usual landscaping requirements?
As far as with our street trees or which landscaping requirements?
Just our standards.
And in general, so the applicant is they're slightly off. They're missing in the front, just the shrubs up front that we would typically require. They're slightly off from that. They did add some shrubs here in the back. They do have quite a bit of area for landscaping. They do have the 2 street trees that they have up front. But just the shrubs, just because of the way that the site is laid out with the how they're gonna enter into the site, they can't add that additional area.
Yeah.
Or those
one of
Christmas
things
shrubs.
is, you want a sidewalk or you want 3 bushes,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I'll opt for the sidewalk over the bushes. Just in that they're probably 10 feet of
Right.
short of bushes or something. So,
Exactly. So for the, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, anyone else? If not, can I have a motion for agenda item 3, please?
I move that we approve agenda item 3 as presented.
Second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. New business, agenda item number 3 has been approved. Moving along to number 4 on your handout. So on your handout, number 4 is a conducted public hearing and consider a special use permit requested to allow a detailed car wash on approximately 1.443 acres of land on the portion of zoned C1 located at the northwest corner of East Villa Road and Bernie Lane. PIN number 181513 in Ellis County, Red Oak. Case number Z as in zebra, C as in cat 26-05, requested by Michael Westfall. Staff, please.
All right, commission, this is an SUP request, which is required for C1 zoning if you want to do a car wash. It's a specific use permit. To orient yourselves here, we've got Ovilla Road, I-35. Here's Walmart here. And then the subject property is the old veterinary clinic at the corner of Bernie and Ovilla here. So the site plan, when I'm showing you these site plans, you're gonna have to orient yourself as right is north. So we're looking at it here. It's a long skinny property. And all of the plans are going to be oriented with north to your right. So entrances would be off of Bernie Road, two in and out, and then one connecting to the existing Walmart driveway. The main wash tunnel will be here in the front, meeting all setback requirements. The detail tunnel will be behind that, and then vacuums in the back with dumpsters. They are having to dedicate quite a bit of right of way along here for the future expansion of Bernie Road. The landscape plan is in general adherence with all of our standards, street trees along the property lines, along with shrubs all along the right of way as well. The building is nearly 100% masonry with a lot of glass accent, following any standards we would typically have for a building like this. But if you read your staff reports, we are recommending denial due to essentially it not being the highest and best use for this location in Red Oak. For example, for what I'm kind of talking about is more about sales tax production, right? We have very limited areas of our town that we can get sales tax production from. So mainly that's going to be Ovilla and I-35. So I'm going to kind of present some sales tax numbers here for you of the surrounding properties. So you've got Chicken Express. They do about $2,700 a month in sales tax, and that's to the city. That's just the city's portion, not the entirety of the sales tax numbers. If you remember, it's 8 1/4 or 6 1/4 for the state and then 2 for the city. AutoZone does $4,200 a month, 7 Brew, $3,000 a month, and 7-Eleven, nearly $4,500 a month. And so the issue with car washes is they're a service. And so the car washing service is not taxed. So the only thing they would pay sales tax on is if they sold an air freshener or something. And it would take a whole bunch of air freshener sales to get up to, say, $100 a month, right? So that is staff's main concern with this property in this location. They would obviously provide property tax, but any business, retail or restaurant's going to provide property tax. It's that second component that we really need to be careful of on our main roads. So looking at their property tax, they're going to be valued around $1 million, or I'm sorry, about $2 million in real property. And sorry, this is based on their current locations in Ellis County. So there's one in Waxahachie and there's one in Midlothian. So they've got the real property, and they've also got business personal property for like all the car wash equipment. But that's as you can see here, is declining because I'm sure they're depreciating it every year, but is a small amount in comparison to property tax, to real property or what would generally be sales tax. So with that, I can take any questions. The applicant is here tonight, and they do have a presentation. I'm sorry, let me make sure this loads up. There you go. Okay, I can take any questions from you guys, or we can open public here.
Oh, we can open up the public
Alright.
hearing, that's fine, as of right now. The public hearing, this is a public hearing, so it's open right now. Those that in favor of this item, you can go first. If you have questions or concerns, you can go second, regarding this agenda item. And as of right now, the public hearing is open. And you can step to the podium, please. When you step to the podium, please give us your name and your address. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mohammed Sharaf. I live at 3412 Ovilla Road in Ovilla. And I am here representing the developer, Victron Energy and Washmasters Car Wash. Thank you for having me. We've got a presentation I'd love to talk through and address some of the points or concerns Mr. Hartman made. And I've never seen so many people so excited to come for a car wash presentation before. So thank you guys for all coming. And if you want to say nice things when I'm done, that's appreciated too.
You have a lot to report.
So I'm really excited to introduce Washmasters Red Oak. Some folks here may be familiar with the Washmasters brand. We're a family-owned car wash chain. We're headquartered right down the road in Waxahachie. I'm the CEO of Washmasters Car Wash. And we're really excited because we think we're bringing something special to Red Oak. Car washes have a mixed reputation often, but we'll go into the details a little bit, but we're going to do for the very first time in Texas a fully indoor detail tunnel. Some of the feedback I heard from other members of the community is they want something unique in the city. And the same way we tried to do with the movie theater, the same way my father tried to do when he built the Brookshires and everything at the corner of a villa and 35. We're trying to meet and exceed that standard here. So here's a couple of here's the first exterior rendering. So there's going to be two buildings here. It's a wash tunnel, and then it's a full detail tunnel. And I'll explain kind of what that looks like and show you guys in a video. So hopefully this works. So this is a first ground up detail tunnel in Texas. The first one was one we built about a year ago where we converted a CVS pharmacy into a detail tunnel last year. And so that's kind of what it looked like. That's a before and after. It's in front of a Kroger in downtown Dallas. I'd like to think it's not too much of an eyesore. So you go through, you wash your car in the exterior, same way you would any other car wash. But the difference is we have an indoor detail tunnel. It's on a conveyor belt. This is technology that first started in Germany. And you get on the conveyor belt, and the beauty of it is, one, of course, you're indoors. So say goodbye to the old days of either you'd have to wash your car in your driveway and detail it yourself, or you have to go to one of those car washes that has free vacuums and you clean it under, the hot sun in the canopy, or like the car wash that we have in Midlothian that we built 15 years ago. You go and you park your car and then you sit in the lobby. The beauty of this, it's a lot more expensive, but it's on a conveyor belt. And so your car is going to be finished and detailed in 7 minutes maximum, the same time every time. And the efficiency of this allows us to offer a really great value to the customers. Our starting pricing for $39.99, you can get a monthly membership where you can have your car detailed every single day, have your car washed every single day on the inside and outside as you please. So this, we think, is going to be, for our company, a kind of a pioneering new concept. We are the largest car wash chain in North Texas. We're proud to be the only family-owned car wash chain that's here. That's not going to change, but we're excited because Red Oak is going to be where we start this. All right, so back to the PowerPoint.
Greg, can you put the PowerPoint back on the screen? Thanks.
All right, so a little bit more detail. You can see there on the left, the exterior renderings. You come in, and I'll show you the site plan in a couple of slides. You wash your car, and then you go, and then you can leave. Or you can go through the detail tunnel, or you can keep going, and included in your membership is your free vacuum. So if you don't want to pay to have your car detailed, no problem. We offer free vacuums as well. As Mr. Hartman said, the buildings are 100% masonry. Even though unfortunately the staff didn't end up recommending approval, we did our best to comply with all of their requests. Here's a couple of interior images of what the detail tunnel is going to look like. A little bit of information on us. I'm not gonna dwell too much, but as a reminder, Victron Energy was started by my father, Ali Sharaf. His first ever Exxon gas station was the little gas station with the subway in it at the northwest corner of I-35 in Ovilla. My dad moved my family down the street in the 90s, and I've been born and raised here ever since. I went to Donald T. Shields Elementary up until 3rd grade, and still today live in Ovilla. When I was coming inside, I remember the park that's right next to the building. Me and a couple of the guys over there used to play ultimate frisbee there all the time in high school. So it's a really unique and exciting opportunity and honor to be able to develop in the town you grew up in. I think there's a lot of developers doing good things, maybe sometimes unpopular things in the city. But I think we're proud to say that we're one of, if not the only ones that I'm born here, I'm raised here, and we're staying here. We've actually been washing cars for a long time here. So if you guys know, we call it Tiger Mart number 16. It's the Exxon with the Church's Chicken. My dad built that in 1999, and that was actually our very first laser car wash. And it's still going strong. The laser car wash business isn't what it once was. It's evolved a lot. But we get to say we've been serving the community for 27 years, both with our gas stations and our car washes. So kind of some fun facts and data. Some folks may be familiar. I don't know if we have anyone that's a member at Washmasters in Waxahachie or elsewhere. But our Washmasters Waxahachie location, the one on Butcher Road in 77, we actually have over 10,000 members there, which to me is amazing because I think the city of Waxahachie has like 48,000 people. And so if you think that there's, 20 or 25,000 cars in the city of Waxahachie, we feel pretty proud that a lot of people feel like they can keep coming to us day after day and we're providing them a service they're excited about. But of course, not all of that business is from Waxahachie. On the right, we've got some GPS data that shows where the vehicles and where our customers are actually coming from. And as you all can see, about 1/3 of all of the business at our Waxahachie location is actually coming from Red Oak. And I think probably everybody could relate as Red Oak and Waxahachie keep getting built, as we keep getting more traffic. I think that drive that we're making the people of Red Oak make all the time isn't ideal, and we want to provide a service that's even better than what we have in Waxahachie and make folks go the other way. So why a car wash? You guys already have a couple of car washes, a couple of other places. There's all kinds of other stuff that could go there. So what's the point of a car wash really? Why should we have one in Red Oak? Why this location? The first reason is I think a really misunderstood idea and concept of a car wash is how much a car wash properly run, properly built, contributes to cleaning the city. The EPA has stated that the #1 cause of ebullience and of pollution in city wastewater systems, or excuse me, drinking water systems, is actually folks washing their cars in their driveway. I've got a couple other, some more data points in the next slide. And so inevitably, you're going to have folks, we don't really have a great car wash in Red Oak. You're going to have folks that are willing to drive from the city of Red Oak to Waxahachie or somewhere else to get their cars washed. But I think that lack of availability means tons of folks are going to be washing their cars in a driveway and possibly polluting our drinking water. We really believe that a clean city starts with a clean car. There's all kinds of things that we want to discourage members of the motoring public to deposit into our water and wastewater systems, including brake dust, motor oils, road salts, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see some of the statistics there. I don't know if everybody can read the numbers, but 1 quart of motor oil contaminates more than 250,000 gallons of drinking water. A single gallon of gasoline can contaminate more than 750,000 gallons of water. And on average, homes dump US households every year dump 193 million gallons of water washing their cars at home. So we spend a lot of money and time making sure that all of that debris doesn't go into city systems. It goes into our system so that we can clean it out professionally. Despite all of this, we actually are really proud that we end up using much less fresh water than not only the average car wash, but the average business in general. We have the world's most advanced water reclamation systems that we use. And so first we have water reclamation systems so we can reclaim about 93% of all the water we use washing your car. And then beyond that, we have sand trap systems so that all of the actual debris, mud, salt, et cetera, we capture it, and then we have that professionally exported. Here's a boring graphic about how that actually works. So I wanted to talk a little bit more. I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more about the property itself, why we chose it, why we think it's the best fit, and our use is, we think, an appropriate one on this property in this location in particular. So something that's unique about this lot is it's about 100 feet wide, so it's not very wide, about as wide as, let's say, a 7 brew, but it's 700 plus feet deep. And so it's really, really difficult, I think, to put a user, no restaurant, no strong sales tax generating type of business is going to be able to take an extremely skinny and extremely long property and develop all of it in a way that would be accretive to city property taxes. And so we've really tried our best to format and build the site to be able to do that. We're really mindful of the concerns that folks have with traffic. I get to cross and drive through I-35 in Ovilla every day, just like everybody else. So we made sure that we don't have, or we're not proposing any kind of access points off of Ovilla Road. Everything flows in and out off of Burnley. And we did our best to try and evenly distribute even the access cuts off Burnley through a couple of different cuts and not have all of them coming in through the same way. So, and I think this is really important to know. In the next slide or two, I'm going to talk about why I actually think this is accretive to property tax, especially in comparison to a couple of the businesses previously mentioned. The dimensions and the shape of this long, skinny lot in particular, one, doesn't make sense for the average type of restaurant user. But two, actually allows us to build a car wash that is 2 to 3 times more expensive than any kind of facility that could be developed, and thus allow us to pay much more in property taxes. By the way, if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to interrupt me. I'm almost done.
Yes, sir.
So here's a couple of more renderings and images of the facility and what the detailed tunnel is going to look like. Something I should have mentioned. Oh, so unfortunately, is there a way to remove this thing at the top left that shows me speaking? Oh, there we go. Thank you. So I've got a couple of before and after images of what the lot looks like right now. It's kind of an unkempt, long property that hasn't really been well taken care of. One of the benefits also of what we're proposing is, although the property was already quite narrow at 110 feet, the city was actually wanting to us to dedicate an additional 22 feet of right-of-way, which of course we've agreed to. And so we're going to be able to, I think, not only improve this corner and the service there, but actually be able to dedicate right-of-way to widen the road. So here's an image you can see kind of before and after, current conditions at the top left, the rest is on the right. There you can see kind of the facade, the existing veterinary clinic or animal hospital, what it would look like when we're built. One more angle kind of from the side. So, I know Mr. Hartman mentioned previously, and a concern that's kind of frequently raised is that of a lack of sales tax that's paid by the car wash, which is true. However, the difference here is that Our car washes, we like to build them big and fancy, and things have only gotten much more expensive since we built our Midlothian and Waxahachie car washes. Is much, much more expensive than not only other car washes, but just about any other commercial development that could be put on that lot. And so presuming, and we actually anticipate to spend 12 or 13 million, but I was conservative. But if you all look, presuming that taking the city's property tax and sales tax rates, assuming like Mr. Hartman said, we only sell, a couple $1,000s a month or whatever of air fresheners, we would actually be net paying more than all of the users that were mentioned by the city staff as our neighbors in terms of total tax payments per year when you combine sales tax and property taxes. And we create more jobs. See y'all reading. Oh, no, wait, okay, great.
You're waiting for us to clap.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, you can clap if you want. Thanks. And really, if you want to come up, say how much you love Washmasters, no problem. They would love to hear it. All right. If you have any questions, I'm here. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, I do have a question. You mentioned staff. How many employees
24.
full-time?
Yeah, we anticipate, obviously they're working different shifts, so they don't all work at the same time, but total 25 to 30. Our starting pay, what's our starting pay? $14, $15. Our managers make $70,000 to $100,000 with bonuses and incentives.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Anyone else that have any questions or concerns regarding this agenda item? Yes, ma'am. The mic is open for you. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name, your address, please.
My name is Paulette Swing, and I live 521 Oakdale on off of Loop 9. So technically I'm in the county, but I have to go through Bernie all the time.
Mhm.
And the traffic that is at Ovilla and all that area right there is just astronomical. Getting off of Bernie Lane already takes 3 or 4 light cycles at times to even get out of that street. And the last thing we need is something else there. Like, there's a car wash right down the street. They just built a car wash right down there at Bear Creek Road, and they have this car wash in Waxahachie. And I just hope y'all don't approve another car wash. We don't need no more traffic jams right there. They need to take that road and widen that road so we can get out of there and not have to sit through 4 or 5 light cycles. Because I don't know if y'all drive that way, but it's ridiculous to get off of Bernie Lane already. And to have something else there is just, we got car washes. We don't need another one. So, thank you.
All right, thank
Thanks.
you.
There's no one else. I'll read this in.
Sir, yeah, please state your name and your address, please.
My name's Rolando Sustaifa. I'm at 125 Oglesby Road. I'm a member of Washmasters. I like the idea of them coming to Red Oak. I usually drive to Waxahachie and they're on the way over there. And then I continue into Waxahachie and spend my money over there. So if they're here, I might spend my more money in the city. So
All right, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am, please state your name and your address, please.
Smith, and I live at 204 Winter's Edge Drive. I go to Anytime Fitness, and every morning I have to leave going on Bernie Road, right? There are a ton of car wrecks. Even my trainer, we see them. We can spot them from a mile away. We see them all the time, okay? If you're gonna put another car wash there, I'm not opposed to a car wash. That's fine, whatever. But you do need to widen that road. And when she's talking about Loop 9, that's way back there. You gotta widen all of that. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you're gonna put a car wash there, cool, no big deal. Love that for y'all. However, widen those roads. There's a ton of car wrecks there, okay? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
We're
thank you.
listening. We're looking right at you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Go
I had
ahead,
a
Ian.
couple write-ins. I'm gonna just read them into the record real quick. This was Several people filled out one form here. First one I've got is Betty Franks at 107 Sunglow Loop. The second one is Sue Shaw at 109 Sunglow Loop, and Richard Wagner at 110 Sunglow Loop, and Rick Gill at 108 Sunglow Loop. The first is Sue Shaw, Bernie Road, this is her comment, she's against. Bernie Road was turned effectively into a dam to contain rather than route drainage from Ovilla Road. The water drains from the apartments and all homes off of Sierra Grande to Bernie Road. There's a very large drainage system attached to the Walmart parking lot. The opening that should have been used to drain this neighborhood is dammed over, and when residents of Country Gardens asked for proper drainage, you built a dam instead, AKA Bernie Road. Now our foundations are cracked and we have standing water for a week after it rains or when the sprinklers come on. If you propose a car wash, which will drain somewhere, please fix our drainage first. To us, this is primary. The second written comment was Richard Wagner at 107. I think this is going to create a big traffic problem in the area. Where is all that water from the car wash going to go when we already have a water problem on our street alongside our house along Bernie? And then we had one person who emailed in, Deandra Thomas at 106 Sunglow Loop. I'm emailing to express my concerns with the rezoning for a car wash at Ovilla and Bernie Road. I am a resident of the Country Garden 2 development. I am against the rezoning. It is my belief that the car wash would bring more noise, congestion, and litter to the area to an already congested environment. I moved to this area in June of 2025 because of the quiet setting. Putting a car wash in the area will make me regret ever moving here. There is already a car wash about half a mile down the road on Ovilla. A second car wash is not needed. That's all we received on write-ins.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, we
Step to-
We did.
Please state your name and your address, please.
My name is Daisy Posadas. I've been living here at 1582 Stainback Road. I was actually at 1583 Stainback Road for more than 30 years. My concern is I don't know if this is the same car wash as on Bear Creek. If everyone knows, I'm sure that Bear Creek is backed up way past. I don't know if it's piping. This is another concern of the residents. I've also made some kind of statement on the forms about the water sewage, but there have been accidents. Is this going to be something that is going to be developed after this whole Avila Road is going to be fixed? Or is this going to start today, like soon, is my concern? Because Bear Creek, that whole area, everything's just backed up. It's just a mess. I think that's everyone's concern is like, we're fine with the car wash. I don't mind personally driving. I am a member of Wash Masters in Waxahachie, but I don't mind driving to Waxahachie because then I can go to Rosa's. Okay. So that's just my concern is just the traffic flow. It's already hard as how everything just kind of flows. I don't like going to Chick-fil-A sometimes just because it's just chaotic. It's a mess. Everyone's coming home, you know, at a certain time and hour. I work in Dallas and I think everyone's just a fear of getting in an accident. Where is this water sewage kind of thing? That's the thing that I see right now in Bear Creek, which is why I don't want to exit off of there because then I take the loop, but I can't take the loop in that area because it's a one lane now. So is this going to be a concern for us residents here in Red Oak with the car wash? I wish it was in a different location, but it is, it is what it is probably now. So that's just a concern. And I'm sure it's also this lovely lady's concern as well.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Sure.
Hello again. I'll be concise. one, thank you to all of our members. Two, I think most of the comments have been regarding traffic. I think we could all agree Bernie isn't in great condition. The good news is the city has decided that it's going to double the right of way and expand the road. And obviously the folks at city staff know best on the timing and how that would work. But for us to develop this property, we have to dedicate to the city another 20 feet. And so to anybody wanting to see Bernie improved and widened, the faster hopefully we get our permits and get going, the faster that could occur. We're delighted to play our part. And then I believe the young lady had a comment about Bear Creek. I hate the traffic on Bear Creek as much as you do because it's actually stopping us from opening. We have not opened. And that is a tech stock construction issue. Yes. But isn't it, I thought it was difficult getting to Bear Creek. Okay. We're happy to welcome you at Bear Creek also, but thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Please come to the microphone and state your name and your address, please.
My name is Khaled El Shahimi. I live at 206 Lisa Way in Red Oak. My family's been in Red Oak for over 30 years now, maybe 26, 27 years, almost 30 years. We actually run the truck stop up the road too. We've been a big remodel up there, and we're very excited to bring, along with the Sharaf family, Washmasters to Red Oak. The lady over here, this nice lady, said that we have one in Glen Heights that's being opened pretty soon. And we're very excited to be operating that one and running that one as well. But the taxes for Bear Creek go to Glen Heights. They don't go to Red Oak. And we'd like to put something in Red Oak here to help boost and generate, tax revenue as well. So just to clarify on that comment.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Kaylee Kirsteins. I live at 218 Cobblestone Circle. Avila Road is a disaster already. That is going to skyrocket the traffic. The business we have there, great. I love the Take 5, I love the 7 Brew, but it's going to make things so much worse. Traffic is so bad, and we are in between two locations. Bear Creek is like 10 minutes away. Waxahachie is like 10 minutes away. Why do we need one here? It makes no sense. We could do something else with that land. We could make the road widened in that space because they said themselves, nothing could build there that would provide good tax revenue stuff. So why not just widen the road in that space? Even partially, it would do more to what is going on there than what it is now, because that road is terrible. It is bad. I've been to the Dollar Tree. They complain about the traffic constantly. The car wash is just going to ruin things for everybody, including the people that live down the street in that neighborhood. It's going to make things bad for them, for the businesses. It's just not a good call. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, if not, can I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I move to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor? Ayes have it. Public hearing has been closed. Commissioners, y'all have any questions for the staff or applicant for this agenda item?
So I want to clarify that in the future, when we are able to widen Bernie Road, that space is available. But
For whoever develops there, yes.
Okay.
They're showing there to dedicate that.
okay, that's it. Okay,
That's per our city transportation plan.
all right.
So you're saying whoever develops that parcel will have to do the right of way of 22 feet, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Will the widening of Bernie not take place until something's developed there?
Most likely.
I have a question. So, speaking to the drainage, what's the proposed fix? Because AutoZone is not flat on the other side. There's a hill to that driveway. It's a pretty significant hill. And that drains water right onto Bernie. We have the traffic going in and out of Walmart. The water accumulates basically in that empty area where all the stray dogs have puppies and the shelter has to go pick them up. So what's the proposed plan for drainage that would remedy that without widening the street?
So, yeah, you want to go up? This is Michael, their engineer.
Good evening, Michael Westfall of Westfall Engineering, the applicant, civil engineer. So the detention pond next door, the Walmart detention pond was designed to account for this property. So when this lot develops, all the water will drain to the west and go into the detention pond. The maps. Perfect. You can see this big green area here with the little pilot channel is the existing detention pond. So when this property here develops, it'll drain to the west into that pond.
So it's not draining down the street. Is that correct? I know they had
Some of it
concerns
does
about the
drain
water.
currently into Bernie Lane. A lot of it does drain to the west already. Some of it drains kind of to the south. Generally, it's draining south into the west a little bit, but some of it does get into the bar ditch. But ultimately, it will be designed to all go west.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
A question for staff. What else could fit in?
The
this?
public hearing is closed, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's closed. Yes, ma'am. It's closed.
What else could fit in a long skinny lot like this?
It'd be a extremely narrow, kind of strip center. It's basically, it's all you could do. You could do a strip center with, some parking along Burning. You could do a linear kind of longer restaurant. You could do, there's options. There'll be creative options. I'm definitely not saying it's not a hard piece. And I think that's kind of why they like it, is they've got long tunnel buildings. But we can also have long tunnel, not tunnel, you're not going to go inside, but, retail strip center or something that does produce the sales tax.
So you just mentioned being about a retail. So I guess the retail face of the businesses will have to face Bernie. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. You'd have an end cap maybe that's got I don't know, a Paleo's or something in it, some like a smaller restaurant, and then you'd have just some retail shops along the other frontage of Bernie. But whatever your highest value one would likely go on the corner of Bernie and Ovilla there, and face actually Ovilla.
Okay.
Ben, do you have an opinion on those numbers he displayed with the tax?
I guess my opinion is, I went and looked up their current wash masters, and that's was it was. So I don't have I don't have a comparison of what they're providing on this site compared to their other sites.
And it was based on, you said sales tax or property tax?
He was showing that theirs is gonna cost 12 to 13 million with a 10 million valuation, and the ones I looked up were more like 2 million, 2.5 million with anywhere from 3 to 500,000 in business personal property. So maybe 3 million-ish total. And that's just from the CAD website, so.
Can we not apply for a tax abatement?
Not likely, no.
Was there any discussion of alternative locations where they could put this kind of facility?
Not with the applicant. I mean, we don't mind, going in other locations around the city that aren't as important for sales tax, somewhere along 342, maybe Red Oak Road, if there's a space there, but not any specific sites that we steered them to now.
I guess this is my opinion, on the property being developed here in the city. I guess my mindset is, why is sales tax brought up? You know, if you're trying to compare them to 7-Eleven and Chick-fil-A, what's the purpose of bringing that up as a comparison of this parcel?
just because we have very limited areas of high visibility and high traffic areas that are generally reserved for sales tax producing businesses. You know, as a city, our funding comes from property tax and then sales tax. So anytime that we can get, for lack of a better term, like a double whammy and get
Right.
sales plus property tax, we need to be focused on that. Not throughout the whole city, but on our main corridors that have the income potential.
Right.
So, and I agree with that we should go for the highest and best use when possible, but this lot really looks like it's gonna be hard to develop.
Yep,
I
it's
mean,
gonna be tough.
That's
narrow
what
it
I'm
that it
thinking
is.
too.
And I'm not sure what we could put in there that would, or allowed to be put in there that would produce numbers that we're hoping to get in that area.
Listen, I know you mentioned retail, but if you're talking about retail and it faces Bernie, what retailer wants to be facing?
Oh, I mean, we're not talking national chains here. We're talking smaller mom and pops. You know, you got like the Lone Star Burger Bar right here. You know, some guys like that would go in here. Smaller smaller retailers. But I mean, but if we zoom out, right, it's we're still part of the Walmart machine here. So you've got tons of people coming here. And so there's some derogatory term for them, but it's called like scavenger retail or something like that. The guys that like to locate around Walmarts because there's that gravity of the Walmart.
So, Roderick, maybe you can answer on the, said there was an entrance, both entrances would be off of Bernie, or I understand this is just zoning, but I don't see how it would,
Yeah, so here,
I thought
There-
they said one out to Walmart. I don't see that.
yeah,
anywhere.
it's in the back here.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't see how we can.
There's no current timeline on when Bernie might be widened, is there?
No.
I guess is the city planning on widening Bernie at some point?
It's in the thoroughfare plan as a wider right of way that comes with a wider road section. Yes, but there is no capital layout that shows it to be done in 2037 or something like that.
Okay.
I was saying there is no
Oh.
set plan that says it's going to be done on this X date.
Was a traffic study, I guess, required or looked at or?
No, not for this.
That's all I have. Commissioners, any more questions or concerns?
I'd like to get a feel, if people have opinions, one or the other before we vote. If people are willing to say.
The city's opinion is to deny it.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Are you talking about my opinion?
Anybody who's willing to share. I'm a no.
I'm looking at it, you know, it's a narrow piece of property, right? So if you think about what could go there, and I really don't see anything else going there, but I guess it can just be vacant, I guess. I mean, because behind it is drainage.
A development plan to bring that to P&Z, and then they changed that. I don't know why. And then they looked at another site where the old Grandson's feed store used to be, and that one was kind of tough just because it didn't lay out right. wasn't enough room for parking and everything else they were trying to do there. So they have looked at two others, and they also looked at racetrack, but that's even worse than trying to put them on the corner of Bernie and Ovilla. I mean, and going back to, who would want to go in there?
Right.
I think there's probably and I'll just say one as an example that I know is not looking to go in there, but Waffle House. That's a perfect example of somebody who would go in there. That's not who is going in there, that they're not looking at it. But I will say that when you're dealing with retailers, they're going to take the easiest spots first. So as you've seen where Take Five's at, the coffee shop, all right in front of Walmart, those are much easier sites to develop. So the retailers still want to be around Walmart. They're going to go to the easiest sites first. Once those easiest sites are taken up, they're still going to want to be around Walmart. So they're going to get a little more creative on how to get into a more difficult site. So that's just my perspective doing economic development for a long time.
And your name, sir? I know you.
I was going to give you a fake name.
Anything else? All right, can I have a motion, please, for agenda item number 4?
I move to approve agenda item 4 as presented. Gotta get it to a vote.
All right, can we take a vote?
Second that.
Second.
Second. Hey, all in favor of this item?
Aye.
Aye. Nays?
Nay.
We have 2 for, 3 against. Agenda item 4 has not been approved tonight. Moving along to agenda item number 5, or new business number 5. If you flip your paper over, it's going to be number 5 on the back side of the handout. This is also conduct a public hearing and consider a zoning change request from Agriculture District to PD 191 for the development of a high-tech industrial park on approximately 828.8 acres of land located PIN numbers 1900522, 191657, 290627, 259985, 181631, 290531, 181627, 181625, Ellis County, City of Red Oak, case number Z as in zebra, C as in cat, 26-07, requested by Red Oak Industrial Development Corp.
I'm gonna just give the presentation from here if you guys don't mind. Real quick, I know y'all are all here for this. When we open the public hearing, please, Ashley, do you have I'll read those out and we'll kind of go in order they got turned in. If you haven't filled one out, please do so just so we have your name and address of record. Also, please limit yourself to 3 minutes. I know everyone has big opinions about this. We're here to hear them. But please don't shout from the back or make comments while other people are trying to speak. And please limit yourself to that 3 minutes. And just like this one previously, once the public's hearing is closed, we can't open it back up again. Okay. So please just be courteous of everyone. This site is out on the edge of town here at between 2377 and Pierce Road. So to orient yourself, here's 342. Here is 35. Pierce Road going east to west here, 2377, and then bordered by Pratt on the east, Goodloe on the west. So this is owned by the IDC. So this is a city initiated zoning change. This is all ag land now. And what I mean, it's used as ag, but it's also zoned as ag. which are two different things, from a zoning and a use perspective. The site consists of roughly 830 acres. We are zoning it in a way that is conducive to data center uses, similar to what we have at Austin and Ovilla Road. The standards that we are using for the site are a carbon copy of the other sites as far as screening and lot density and lot coverage. Let me go to the other exhibit here. And so you can kind of see here, there's 8 total properties that are being zoned. And from these are just the surveys. So the intent, and this is a conceptual plan, utilizing the shapes of the other buildings in the city. So if you go look at that, it kind of looks like a big block T there. And so that is laid in there as a conceptual kind of development plan of how that could fit in. So it could possibly fit 10 buildings. Obviously, this is just a cartoon drawing. Here is Goodlow Road, and they would be, we would need them to dedicate that right away and build that road, not all the way through on the offsite, but once this property develops, then it can connect and have connectivity. 2377 will have right-of-way dedication. It's in the county's plan and the city's plan to be 130-foot wide right-of-way with future 6 lanes. Pierce Road, 85-foot right-of-way with 4 lanes, and Pratt Road, 100-foot right-of-way with 3 lanes, with access being off of Pratt, and then 2377 and Goodlow. Now, during construction, we would have them only utilize 2377 to enter the sites, and Pratt Road to enter the sites, to make sure we don't have any traffic coming down Meadow Lane or Crestview here, and we don't want them coming down with their big equipment off of Pierce's either. You can see that there's a creek that runs through here. Right now, the floodplain backs way up all the way to Pierce. And that's because if you can kind of see this line here, it kind of backs all the way out, gets real wide. Because the culverts under Oglesby don't allow enough water to get through. And then same thing here at 2377 is it backs up all into the site. So likely what would be done, there's been no engineering done on the site, but when the design of Oglesby is complete, you're looking at a wider culvert that actually changes that floodplain so that it's not as bad. Same thing here, possibly doing something with this culvert here so that the floodplain is not as bad. Now, with any development we do, it does require detention. So this small amount shown here, again, there's been no engineering done on the site, so the ponds would likely be bigger and they would likely be located on the creek, or the creek would be widened out to hold more water to be detained before it's released. Looking at some of the right-of-ways, this is what the ultimate build out of 2377 would be. Pratt Road, where you'd have turn lanes, and then Pratt Road where it's just straight. We would do away with the median. I was just showing the median here so that you could have a turn lane in the middle of the road. Pierce Road, 4 lanes, sidewalks, trees. And then our minor collectors would be Goodlow and Oglesby, kind of the cut through if you wanted to get from Pierce to 2377 or Pierce to or 2377 to Pierce. As far as screening, let's see. So the current, like I said, we've copied. It's easier just to show you guys kind of pictures of what they've got going on over here. So landscaping with for screening, as well as instead of what they want to do usually is barbed wire and chain link, so we had them add the decorative wrought iron fences and have landscape all around along here. Now, this has not been completed yet, so this is not all the way done, but I just wanted to show you the fence that would act as the screening. That would be along 2377 and Oglesby and Goodloe and Pratt. And then I'd like to kind of go into, I saw a ton of Facebook comments. I'd like to try to maybe see if I can include them in my presentation as maybe answering some of your questions. One I saw a whole lot of was the noise and air quality pollution from generators. So these sites do typically have generators. That's what kind of this gray area is. It's a yard area where they place the generators. And again, I can kind of show you on an existing one. The generators are located here on the sides of the building, and then there's this kind of yard area next to the main building. So that's what this gray represents. But the generators are for emergency only during power outages. They do have to run and test them occasionally. And we do have a noise limit of 85 dBA of constant. Now that may go up during construction, and it may go up when they're testing their generators. But 85 decibels is written into the ordinance, which is enforceable by our code enforcement, which carries a fine of up to $2,000 a day or so. There are things in place to keep them from running their generators all the time. Electric grid. So the electric is provided by Encore. One of the reasons this is a good location is that it's got direct access to the main power lines that run through the city, which is tough to develop on other sites because the power lines are so restrictive as far as what you can put under them and develop around them. I saw a bunch of comments about substations. So they do put in substations, and we just kind of hatched out a couple areas that they might be able to go. But they do pay for them. The Encore doesn't pay for that and then bill you guys. That's something that the developer, that Encore requires the developer to pay for. It also creates redundancy around the city as a whole. So I think in 2021 or so, we had one substation in the entire city, and now we have 4, and this would provide more. And so what that does is allow for redundancy of kind of our area and directly in our city. I'm not going to pretend to be a electrical grid engineer, but that is what those items do. From a water perspective, that's a big one, right? So these ones that we copied on here are what are called air-cooled versus water-cooled, meaning there's 2 types of system that they usually, from our understanding, that they do is water-cooled, where they actually run city water through the pipes and then spit it out. Cool the system down and then spit it out. What these are water-cooled, which uses, air-cooled, which utilizes glycol. So if you know what glycol is, it's basically antifreeze is a good way to think about it. But it's not the toxic antifreeze that we put in our cars. That's propylene, that's ethylene glycol. They use propylene glycol, which is used like in food manufacturing. So it's what's known as a closed loop. So they mix water with glycol. They put it in the system, and that's it. That's it. They don't recharge it every day. They don't recharge it every month. They put the glycol in the water, they put it in the system, and that's it. There's a bunch of valves on the inside. If they ever have to make a repair, they can shut down, 100 feet of pipe, fix the section, and not have to waste all the coolant. The water servicer for the area is Rocket, but they also have the option to pay to extend city facilities out that way. Since there's no developer for the site yet, we don't know what option there is, or option someone would choose in the future, but they have both of those options. Flooding, I mentioned detention a little bit, and utilizing or fixing some of the existing problems along the existing roadways. But we do require detention on any new development site like this. Traffic. So there will be traffic during construction, certainly as these have a lot of construction workers on site, but that'll be for a limited amount of time. And we are trying to, this would require them to only use 2377 as their access and not gum up our smaller roads like Pierce or Crestview or Meadowbrook or Meadow Glen. And so that would eliminate traffic, big traffic concerns during construction as far as being on smaller subsidiary roads. Post-construction, they don't have a ton of employees. So it's not like an Amazon warehouse that's got 3 shifts of 250 employees each. So you're looking at maybe 200 or so workers that would be on the whole site, as kind of a permanent site. So in regards to traffic, I did want to kind of compare it to what else this would likely develop as, and it'd be kind of like a subdivision. I think some of the comments were, we'd rather have a subdivision here, that I saw on Facebook or on write-ins. I'll tell you that a subdivision, it might sound good, but what you'd be looking at is, with this amount of acreage, you're talking about 3,200 houses is what you would probably fit on there. That's about 4 units per acre, which is pretty standard. And with that comes internally 30-ish miles of roadway internally only. So it would cause, more runoff. It would cause, it's more of a burden to taxpayers as far as facilities in the city. We would probably need to expand or rebuild the fire station that's out there on Pierce Road to serve that many residents. So it would be a much bigger effect on everyone's daily life out in this area to have a 3,200 home subdivision. From a traffic standpoint, you'd be looking at, if it's 3,200, just double that. Everybody's got 2 cars probably, so 6,400. And when we're designing roadways and laying out our networks, that would come to about 13,000 trips per day. So even though it's 6,400 cars, it would feel like an extra 13,000 cars, because of those trips that are being made on the streets in and around the subdivision, and then also throughout the city. So from a traffic standpoint, I think it's good to keep that in mind, because of how little traffic this would actually create or generate with a development like you're seeing on your screen. Tax abatements was another big one. So some of the previous developments like this received tax abatements, but they're not forever. There's a 10-year max on them. The land is currently, well, because it's owned by the IDC, it's paying nothing. But even before that, when it was just being used as farmland, it's ag exempt. So even if it's $2 million worth of land, they only pay taxes in general, probably what, 40 or 50,000? I don't know what the exact ratio is of value on the land, which only equates to $1,200 or $1,500 a year. So even with abatements, this would produce more than 100 multipliers times what the current use is providing. And so it's important to note, because with that money going to the city and to the county, because it also goes to the county and to the school district, and just also to note that the school district doesn't do any abatements, so they would pay 100% of school taxes regardless of any county or city abatements. But that allows us to do quality of life projects for the city, or do things like Bernie Road, right? That kind of influx of tax dollars allows us to do a lot more in the city if we're not having to maintain 30 miles of roadway inside of a subdivision, right? So I hope I've answered some of the questions. Obviously, everybody can still talk, and I know you're still here and you have other things that I don't know about. But that's all I've got for you guys on the commission.
Okay.
And just please say anything you want, say it all you want. Just please don't yell over anybody else, and just use your time and use it to say whatever you need to say.
Ben, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Could you explain what data centers are? I don't know if everybody knows what data centers are, what they're used for.
Yeah, so they're basically any data from your phone or your computer or any other technology item that the information has to be stored on a server. So take why I'm assuming most everybody's here is Facebook. Well, all those comments are sitting in a server in Facebook data center, right? And all your pictures and all that stuff is all sitting in a data center, because it's got to be somewhere. It's just not on the internet. It's got to be in a hard storage place. And so these are giant buildings, as you've seen, that just have racks and racks and racks and racks of computers in them. And on there is sitting all the information that you've given to whoever to store safely. So that is the essential use of a data center. Now, there's all these other things it can be used for AI. It's mostly used for storage of data. It can be used for Bitcoin mining, but that's not the people that we work with. We work with these larger hyperscalers that are here to store their data, and have massive companies that are for data storage. And with that control that the IDC has over the land, they can control who they sell it to.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. This is a public hearing. Those that are in favor of this item, you can go first, which I know we have a lot that wants to go for this item. Or if you have any questions or concerns, you can go second. So as of right now, the podium is open. Please state your name and your address when you come to the podium, please.
I'm gonna, to make it efficient as possible, I hope, I'm gonna read the names of the folks and ask you to come up as I read your name from all these I've received. So if you still have one of these, if you want to give it to Ashley right there, she'll put you in the list. The first one I have is Chris. I'm sorry. Villegas. Sorry, man.
Well, I was the last one to turn the paper in, so I'm glad I'm going
Hey,
first.
You get credit for being procrastinating.
And to be clear, I'm against the data center. So my name is Christopher Villegas. I live on 511 Pratt Road, so I'm right next to that property that you guys want to develop into data center. We just found out, my wife and I just found out about this today through Facebook, and we have kids and we don't have a lot of time sometimes unfortunately to dedicate to these huge issues that affect everybody in Red Oak. Off the first concerns that we had selfishly were for the effects on our property value. We discussed like, hey, maybe we should sell now before somebody finds out that they're building a data center, and maybe we can get some of our return on the investment we've made so far on our property. So one question that I have is have you guys done any studies into how this affects the property value of the surrounding properties when you build these data centers? And then another concern that we had was just the environmental impact that it has on the area. Are there any reports that are available to us, the public, that we can see where there's been maybe, I don't know, studies to see what it's the environmental impact that it has? I know that the closed loop system is something that uses less water, but what about all of the substations that are going to have to get built on there? Like, is there an impact on that? That's another concern that we have. Yeah, in general, just the traffic. I have to take my kids to elementary school using that road. And even just for this small project that they did, I don't know what they were doing on the road, but that just kind of like, if you drive up there, that's like maybe 30 minutes because you have to stop at the intersection, let the other cars that are on the other side, go through, and then they send that vehicle to come get you, and then you go through. So that's like 30 minutes to that. So that's another concern that we had. But other than that, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Next, I have Marvis Mosley.
Come on down, sir.
How you doing? I live at Marvis Mosley. I live at 129 Lake Trail Drive. Basically, the question I had was, I just had a power surge a couple of days ago. They're more often than I have remembered, and I think it may be related to the data center we already have on a power system. Have we did any research as far as electrical data? How's that affecting us as homeowners? I mean, I think that's a problem for me, is why so many power surges? Do we have the power to accommodate a data center? We already have a data center on Houston School Road, right?
Yes, sir.
So do we have enough power to accommodate that? Every time I try to talk to Encore doesn't provide us with any kind of information whatsoever. So I am concerned about the power. I'm also concerned about the water. Are there any research done on that? How would that affect the homeowners? How would it affect our bills? Will our electrical bill go up? Will our water bill go up? My water bill is kind of high already, but I'm just trying to figure out how would these things affect us in that regard, bill wise, for us electrical and water. That's what my concern is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The next. Oh, okay. The next one I have is Kaylee Kirstens.
Hello, I am Kaylee Kirsteins. I live at 218 Cobblestone Circle. My biggest concern, of course, is the environmental impact. You mentioned both that it used air cooling and water cooling, both in the same sentence. You said air cooling, but then you also said it used the water for the antifreeze stuff, which you say is safe, but then what if it ends up not being safe and destroying, our ecosystem, getting into our water systems? And then additionally, the pollution polluted from it, not even just the water, the air pollution that it could cause could do detrimental things to the area. Additionally, let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, we could use that space for more community-minded things. We only have a Walmart in the Berkshires. We could have better grocery options here. Walmart's not the greatest. I'm gonna say it. We could have better options. This is not the better option. Nobody wants it. It's gonna take away our water, take away our power, make our bills worse. It's just a bad idea for everybody. Thank you for your time.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, I did that. I- yeah, I'll give that. Y'all are nice enough. Kanan Molinex from Waxahachie, Texas, 222 Hacienda Drive. I'd imagine y'all have Facebooks. I think y'all see kind of what's going on the interweb of everybody opposing these. I don't think it's something out of the ordinary for y'all to hear. Despite the minor improvements and the noise pollution, the safeguards that these cities usually put in are not very great, especially with the power grid system. I think everybody knows during the wintertime, our power grid goes down pretty frequently. I don't think generators running during a power outage in Texas is something that we need. Another thing about the water, the situation in rural Georgia was a prime example that I've seen where a woman was wiping sediment from her pipes in her house and her sink because of the data center that was in her area. I think I heard the housing rebuttal. I think giving Americans affordable housing instead of a Walmart AI data center to hold data on what we put on the internet is completely unacceptable. I think affordable housing for more Americans is a little more convenient for civilians. I don't know any of y'all personally. This is my first time ever talking at a meeting like this. Y'all seem like really great people, and I love seeing the camaraderie between y'all and regular civilians. Not of what we see on the internet usually, but I think everybody's voicing their disapproval of this speaks volumes, and I hope y'all take that in consideration. Thank you.
Doza?
Okay, everyone's gonna hate me.
You gonna be for the item?
My name is Mike Mendoza, 232 Stonegate Way, Red Oak, Texas. We live and have business here in the city, and we love it. We moved here to not ever move anywhere else. And that is still our plan. I understand that people don't like growth and don't like advancement in what's going on. But it's inevitable. I mean, just to move to this area to think that it's going to stay the way it's always been is not going to be the way it's always been. Data centers, we can see the Google cranes from our backyard. So, but we understand why you need them. I understand why we need them. So when people say we don't need something, you're not speaking on the behalf of me as part of the we, okay? I understand why the city's doing this instead of residential properties. I looked at the numbers. I understand that the three biggest concerns, of course, are water, electricity, and noise. We don't have a water issue with this because they're closed systems, so that eliminates number one. When it comes to electricity, I think the biggest concern is not the grid itself, is our electric bills going to go up? That's really what they're concerned about. And if they're running their own grid, if they're running off of the residential grid and it's not going to interfere with us, that could be a resolution to that. The next thing is noise. Okay, so I understand that 85 decibels I don't think people understand what that means, but you guys, when they couldn't hear you in the back of the room, you were already at 85 decibels. That was just the back of the room, okay? So I don't think noise is going to be an issue. I could understand when generators are running is when it's going to hit that maximum potential, but I think the best way to judge it is just to go on Houston School Road and hear what you hear. And I don't hear anything when I'm on Houston School Road. And I understand the concerns, I understand, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's going to happen in Texas. Virginia's the biggest state housing these. As far as polluting the water, as the other gentleman, they're closed systems. There's nothing going to be polluting our water because they are closed systems and how they're treating that. And I think that's really important because they're air cooled. I've done a lot of research on these things. And do I want them? No, I wish they would be somewhere else. I think a lot of people would want that, but it's inevitable that they're coming. So if they're coming, then we need to have guide rails pretty much on the thing to make sure that we're environmentally safe. And I believe you guys already are doing that. The state of Texas has taken a big role in doing that with the data centers. So I'm not opposed to having them. I already got them. I mean, we already got them right around us. So that's not going to change anything. But I think it's good that they're bringing in infrastructure on their end. They're going to help us with things here. It's not going to be a burden on the city as residential property would be. Have more people. You have a crime issue. You know, that's another issue people forget about. So that's my part.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the next one I have is Matthew Price, PhD. Dr. Price.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to try not to rehash what a lot of other people have said. I actually appreciate your comments, Mike. I agree with you that this is a bit of an inevitability. So Matthew Price, I live at 1310 Pierce Road, right there at Pierce and Pratt. So this is directly affecting me. In fact, the creek that you're talking about runs through my property. So it'll affect that both my front yard and the creek along the side of my property. A couple of things I'm want to make it clear that, you know, I work in AI and emerging technology. I'm an AI researcher. I do this every day. So I totally understand the need for these type of things. I do think that there is some inevitability to it, but my issue with being here tonight has more to do with process. So let me just read through some of this really quickly. I'm here because I'm concerned about the process behind item 5 on tonight's agenda. And I recommend denial or at least tabling this issue for ZC 2607 on these grounds. I'm worried that there hasn't been enough due diligence done, or at least if it has been done, we haven't seen it as the public. So the agenda that was passed out tonight, and I downloaded it this morning, specifically said it's 828.8 acres of agricultural to planned development. It's a high-tech industrial park. Data center is what's been said on social media, but I was taking at face value what was on here. That could be one of a number of things: manufacturing, semiconductor, robotics, on and on. But it sounds like it's mostly data center planning. And it's also conceptual. So you showed some basic ideas of what it could be based on existing development. Okay, that's fine. But for the record, I'd like to know, is there any named end user, tenant, or industry subtypes identified for this park at this point? This is all pre-development, right? Is there a letter of intent? Item 3 on tonight's agenda had a car wash. They had a letter of intent, and it's 500 times smaller than what we're talking about here for this issue. There was elevations. We didn't see any specific elevations because it's still conceptual and in development. So another one on there, the car wash showed elevations, 600 times different size of footprint. And we talked about that for a long time. We're talking about 828 acres. Another thing, I benefit from being here, been here over a decade, and I benefited from being able to get a USDA loan and live close to my in-laws that live right around the corner in Shiloh Downs. So this land is currently zoned agricultural. It sits in an area that, like much of Red Oak, qualifies as a USDA rural development eligible area, meaning families can use USDA-backed zero finance loans. So working class families, first-time buyers would all be eligible for this. And we're talking about taking several square miles and taking it off the board for residential development or any other type of public development. It's one of the fastest growing communities in one of the fastest growing counties in Texas, and we need housing, and housing brings population growth that comes with the housing, and then more schools, small businesses, tax base. It's all part of the community fabric. And I understand what you were saying before. I would rather deal with that problem than having a data center that may or may not, quite honestly, as a researcher, and I'm wrapping right now. These data centers might not be usable in 5 years. We might build them. The way that we're building them is probably overgrowing for a problem that'll solve itself in smaller form factors. So this could be a huge investment for something that's not going to turn out to be anything but empty factories or empty warehouses and unused in 5 years.
The next one I have is W. Holstein.
I live at 316 Cascade Drive, William Holstein. I believe everything that he said is what you guys need to consider. Okay? You've said that there wouldn't be any water use. We're going to have our water raised, Bill, from this last little deal you did for data centers over there, right? So I don't understand what you're saying. You know you're going to use water. Who's going to pay for the roads? Not the roads inside, but the roads outside. The taxpayers. We're going to pay for the new construction. Water lines, electric. It's just a bad deal. I believe making houses would be a lot better.
The next one I have is Michael Myers.
My name is Michael Myers. I live at 115 Hummingbird Lane in Ovilla, Texas. I normally don't butt into local politics. I am the candidate for House District 10 on the Democratic side. I'll be running against Brian Harrison later on down the road. As you know, this data center stuff is a major issue of contention in our local politics. We see these data centers going up now in Midlothian. I think Mansfield is looking at one. You've got one going up, and we got another one that you're contemplating now. I did serve on the city council for some time in Ovilla, so I know what y'all are trying to do, and I want to tell you, you got to be very, very careful with this stuff. These data centers, we don't really know what the environmental impact is on them. They're so new. You know, at least I hope you know, that the Senate, the Texas Senate, has commissioned a study. The Lieutenant Governor has directed the Senate to do an environmental impact study on the effects of these data centers. They're so new. I was glad to hear that maybe this is a closed water coolant system. That just tells you that the ones they built in the past probably are not, well, I know they're not. They're not water, they're water cooled. Maybe the technology is improving some. I certainly hope so. I also know that TXU is mandated to put these data centers in, and these big contractors, developers, are paying for that. The question becomes, what happens down the road 10, 15, 20 years from now? And that's something y'all really need to think about. How is this thing going to play 20 years from now in Red Oak? Is using this agricultural acreage better used on housing? We certainly are low on housing now. That's not a secret. Could it be better used? Should we be using public money to give tax abatements, which is surely going to come if this thing gets approved through your city council? That is not appropriate to do, I don't believe. We should not do that. I want you to be very careful in your vote, because you can trap your city council. You're going to send this stuff, as I understand it, to the city council for approval, correct? If you vote to approve this and they vote no, you've just opened them up to possible lawsuits. You say that nobody is really talking about developing this stuff yet. It would not be in front of this council if somebody hadn't inquired about it. Somebody is interested in that land. Who it is, I have no clue. But somebody wants to put a data center out there. If you vote yes, city council votes no, you just open the city up to major lawsuits. And if you vote no now, you can nip it in the bud. This will be the end of it for a long time. So I would strongly urge you to pay attention to what the city, what your citizens are saying, and deny this rezoning. Thank you.
And
Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Friend. I live at 121 Lassiter. This is right in my backyard. I have my wife and children with me, and some of my neighbors came along to support as well to show our concern. So I am a resident of this community here in Red Oak and Ellis County. I want to start by saying I understand the importance of economic development. Growth is coming whether we like it or not. And I think most of us in this room would agree that we want smart, responsible growth that benefits both current residents and future generations like my children. But that's exactly why I'm here tonight. This proposed 800-plus acre data center development, along with the request for multiple ordinance modifications, is not a typical project. This is a large-scale, long-term infrastructure decision that will permanently shape this area. And I don't believe we have enough clarity yet to make that decision tonight to rezone this. There are a few key concerns I'd like to raise. First, jurisdiction and oversight. There seems to be confusion about whether this project falls under city authority, county authority, or some combination of both. Before any vote is made, residents deserve a clear understanding of who ultimately governs this project and who is accountable long-term. Second, infrastructure impact. A development of this size will place significant demands on roads, emergency services, and utilities. What specific upgrades will be required? Who's paying for them? And what is the timeline? Third, water and power usage. Data centers are known to consume substantial amounts of both. In a growing region like ours, where resources are already under pressure, we need transparent answers about long-term sustainability and impact on residents. Fourth, the ordinance modifications themselves. When a project requires this many exceptions, it raises a fundamental question. Why does it not fit within the existing framework? And what precedent are we setting if we approve this? Finally, community impact and return value. An 800-plus acre development is a major use of land. What does the community receive in return? Not just in tax revenue, but in jobs, quality of life, and long-term benefit. I'm not here to say no outright. I'm here to say not yet. This project deserves more transparency, more community input, and a clearer understanding of long-term impacts before a decision of this magnitude is made. Red Oak and Ellis County are growing quickly, but we still have something special here, a sense of community, space, and long-term pride in how we develop our land. Once 800-plus acres are committed, we don't get that decision back. So I would ask you, on behalf of the residents who live here now and the ones who will be here long after this project is built, please slow down, get it right, and make a decision we won't regret 10, 20, or 30 years from now. Thank you for your time.
The next one I have is Rolando Sastacia? What was it? Sustaita.
Right, let's see. Nope, haven't started yet. Okay, my name's Rolando Sustaita. I live at 125 Oglesby Road. If you pull up the concept plan, you'll see that my property was actually just a big white square. It's like they're hiding something back there. There's also two properties to the right that you can't see. So that's a weird concept plan. It's making people think there's no housing around there. If you zoom in on the concept plan, you can see that there's stuff back there. It's just not being presented. There's no entrance point to these data centers. That's suspicious. And I'm just gonna go ahead and read off some stuff. My property on 125 Oglesby is hit and miss. Sometimes FEMA says I'm in a 100-year floodplain. Sometimes they don't, but I pay flood insurance on that. I think this is going to impact the flood zone area in my house specifically. Let's see. Yeah, property omitted from the concept plan submitted to this commission tonight, along with all other neighboring homes. I'm formally requesting this item be tabled or denied until the following binding non-amendable conditions are in place. The masonry wall no less than 8 feet tall wherever there's development abutting to residential property, with no option or substitute metal fencing, setbacks along the residential boundary that meet or exceed standard industrial zoning requirements and cannot be reduced through administrative amendment. A full independent FEMA compliant flood and drainage impact study approved before any permits are issued, with open channel stormwater prohibited near residential property lines, building height capped at the standard 60 feet along the residential boundaries rather than 100 to 140 feet proposed in the attachments. Commission approved landscaping plan submitted with the development plan non-deferred, maintaining the standard 15% coverage requirements with street trees along Oglesby Road and noise limit reduced from 85 to no more than 65 decibels at the nearest residential property line, with construction restricted to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Finally, any future amendment to this PD affecting these protecting must return to P&Z for a full public hearing with resident notification. The current amendment language in sections 7.4, 7.4.11 would allow every one of these conditions to be quietly removed without commission ever seeing it again. I have submitted a written letter requesting it be entered into official public record. Thank you. Sorry?
You sent the letter, or that is the letter?
I submitted this also in, in writing, for y'all. I missed the timeline, but y'all can see it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I want to see some of that address. Please.
Okay, thanks. The next one I have is Cindy Stevenson.
Good evening. I'm Cindy Stevenson. I live on 328 Pierce Road. I'm not going to be as orderly as they were. I made some notes. I've lived here over 30 years. Long-term resident. There was less than 5,000 people here and farmland when I moved here. And yes, we have to grow, and I understand that. And I know our economic development people are working hard at that, but I don't want a data center in my backyard. I was okay with Google, you know, but now I see another data center over on, is it Steinbeck or Pratt, somewhere over in there? Is that also a data center? I want to know that.
Yes.
And how did we not know about that? I mean, over on Bachelor Road, it's a huge, huge thing. And you're just giving up these farmlands for data. And that's not okay with me. I saw last week in the news that $2 billion was approved for new data centers in Red Oak, Texas. I'm like, really? I have to see this in the news? You guys don't let us know, the citizens that live here? I'm in shock. I'm concerned about health issues. They're not proven yet. It's too new. I've heard things about dementia, children getting heart issues, and the buzzing noise causing sleep problems. I think more research needs to be done before this comes to my backyard. I think the electric and water concerns are really there. And I read something on Facebook today about, you know, Texas already has like 25 million or billion of water is being utilized. And we have a water shortage in Texas, y'all. I mean, come on. How about we put a recreation center in, or a real senior center, you know, something nice. Not just give up this beautiful land that I ride my motorcycle around for a data center, an ugly data center. Yes, we need data, but not this much and not this soon in our neighborhood. And, you know, I have 2 acres of land and a beautiful home, and I'm concerned, like this other gentleman, about the value of my property. I wanted to retire here, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm concerned about the value of my home. And I don't know which of you guys even live here in Red Oak. I know my friend over there lives in Waxahachie. I know Miss Stanfield, I think you're maybe from Ovilla. You know, we don't know you guys, so I'd appreciate hearing more about this. And like someone said, more due diligence. Thank you.
All right, the next one I have is, man, I'm gonna mess this up. Sworn Cotton? Sharon. Oh, looks like a W. Sorry.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sharon Cotton. I live at 502 Bluebonnet Lane in Red Oak. I, too, am a 31-year resident of this town. I moved here for the serenity, the peace, the quiet. What really concerns me is that so much of our farmland is being taken up for data centers, solar farms, and wind farms. It's like, where are we going to get our food? To me, this is like a 1984 George Orwell dystopian future right here in our friggin' backyard. These data centers, they have toxic materials in it. My concerns, as well as the other participants here, the environmental impact, what it does to the animals, what it does to humans. We know that there's already toxic materials. It infects the land, it infects the water, it infects the air. And this, if you guys are to, our rural communities are being demolished by these monstrosities. I am totally opposed to this. On these data centers, you say up to 200 employees. With these, since you already know there's a figurative number there, are these people that are residing in town? Do they pay taxes? Or are they H-1B visa participants? Where are these people coming from? And do they benefit the community? To me, a data center does not benefit the community. It doesn't offer us a loaf of bread. It doesn't offer us a car, doesn't offer us a product. And you guys give these people, these data centers, 10-year tax abatements, which is not beneficial to us whatsoever. You're seeing the dollar down the road. That helps us not at all. I am extremely opposed to the data centers. We're already inundated with the high costs of living and services alone. We already go on water restrictions here in Red Oak every summer. And the power grid that we have, it's not reliable. And you're talking about them having their own power grid. I live approximately a mile from where the Google data center is going in. 4:30 in the morning, I can hear the hum of the power lines. And it sounds like a railroad car sitting on the tracks with the engine revving in a high idle. I have sleep problems because of it. I have, newish double pane windows. I can hear it through my windows. And to me, that is totally disturbing my serenity in this town, which is why I moved here.
Is up.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
The next one I have is Diana Brenzel Rod. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Diana Brunzel Rudogavich, and I live at 205 Debbie Way in Red Oak, Texas. My concern is what we have today is the example you're giving for this new site. What we have today is atrocious. It's ugly, and it affects a lot of people here.
They're already, most of, everybody has told you about that, but I'm going to talk about the closed systems for cooling. It's a lie when they tell you that they don't flush those clogged tubes. They do get clogged. Radiators get clogged. They get clogged and they get flushed, and they have a lot more toxins than you think. So don't let them fool you. Do your research. You're the city planners. I expect you to do more. Also, I live in Bryan Terrace, and we're going to do 2 construction projects at the same time. The school. That road is already a bad road to go down. We don't know what you're going to do with these data center construction. So that's my concern.
Patrick
Gotta say it.
Day, Patrick Day, June.
That's close.
That's close. Okay. Do you write like that all the time?
That was very good, by the way. Thank you very much. My name is Patrick DeZoo. I live at 100 Brushy Way. I've been in Red Oak, Texas for over 40 years, longer than both of my wives. One is here tonight. I want to bring up one very simple thing, and it's called the monarch butterfly. And if you've ever walked down Oglesby Road, like my neighbors Heidi and Ivan have for 30 years, you're going to see a little plant called the Asclepias tuberosa, which is the nectar for the monarch butterfly. And I'm hoping you have a feasibility study done along this wetland area that has the impact of what's going to happen to these butterflies. It's very, very important. And Ben, you missed one very important thing, and that is light pollution. We're very, very concerned about the amount of light and how that impacts everything that is around that. I lived in Red Oak for 40 years. I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm asking you to deny it at this time until you can get more information put together for it. But I can take you out there and walk you through the fields, and I can show you this Asclepias. It's all out there right now. Not only that, Red Oak doesn't need more data centers. We need a wildlife preserve where we can walk our children through. I know that doesn't bring taxes in. We have enough data centers. We need more infrastructure for our families. Thank you very much.
All right, next one I have is Paulette Schwing.
I'm gonna beat him. I've been in Red Oak 43 years.
Oh, geez. Let me just make note that you're the winner so far.
I don't think you need a microphone. But no, go ahead. I'm just.
Hey, you know what? I like for people to hear what I gotta say. So, well, I live in Ellis County. Technically, I live like 2 blocks from the data center that's on Houston School Road. My daughter, however, lives off of Lorraine, which would be closer to this data center. She's bought her a house over there, and she's threatening to move if y'all build this data center because she refuses to live by it, period. But I also noticed that y'all showed some pretty little road work being done and all this kind of stuff to help with all the traffic and whatnot, but y'all haven't done that to Houston School Road. And that road is like driving down a mine land. I mean, my car is like falling apart from driving down that road. So for me to come into Red Oak, I either got to come on Bernie, which, thank God y'all didn't pass the car wash, so my other one is Houston School Road, which y'all haven't fixed with this data center being there, and that road is toward all, where and back. But Red Oak doesn't need this, like everyone in here said, Red Oak, I mean, I lived in Red Oak for 43 years. There wasn't even a Sonic. The only thing we had was David's grocery store. And the closest gas station was at Tiny's way down there past Bear Creek, or way down this way. And believe me, I ran out of gas a lot of times trying to make it to the gas station. But I just really wish y'all really would consider, because I mean, I don't want my daughter to move. I would like for my family to stay here. And it's just, it's not beautifying our city at all in no way, shape, or form.
you know? And like she said, you know, y'all keep putting in this data center so we can spy on everybody to see what they're looking up and what they're putting in their phones, instead of figuring out how are you gonna grow that corn to fill, you know, to feed whatever, you know? I mean, there's just a lot more to be involved than just throwing up these data centers that are just ugly. Not counting the water pollution, because I believe it does pollute the water. Because they say that you can't use that water once it goes through there, that water is contaminated forever. So I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, that's pretty sad. So I think our human self and our health and our well-being is more important than these data centers. Thank you.
The next one is Lonnie Jansen.
Lonnie Jansen, I live on Crestview. And I don't know, does the city own the land that this is supposedly gonna be going on? right?
Yes, it's the Red Oak IDC, the industrial
Yes,
development.
now I don't know that it's legal for the city to be in the real estate business. I think at the end of my street on Crestview, I believe the city owns that also. Are you planning on putting a road from this data center through your land at the end of my street and gonna create traffic on that? I don't know, you say you're gonna have, my concern about water is you say you're gonna have retention ponds. A retention pond is only as good as when it's full, then it's gonna go someplace else. On my property, I get all the water that comes from Meadow. What doesn't go to the east on Meadow goes to the end, goes through the hayfield, then it comes down Crestview, down my ditch. What doesn't go east goes west. It doesn't go to Lawrence, it goes through my pasture. All of it. I get, when I get a large rain, I get water to within 8 feet of my front door. The city has promised the people on Crestview that they were gonna take care of the water situation. They haven't. That water from Meadow should go to Lawrence and then down the street or go across Lawrence and through the school property. I mean, I don't want the data center anyway, but I'm concerned about the surface water that all this property is going to, I mean, once, it's solid surface, that water is going to go somewhere. And you were mentioning that creek that goes through there. Does that water go to the north or does it go to the south? I don't want it coming through I'll show you a picture of the water in. I have a little driveway through my trailer pasture. It is totally like lakefront property for 2 or 3 days until it recedes. The culverts are bent that go under Lawrence, that go past the school. None of the water goes down my side of Lawrence towards 2377. It all has to try to go to the school side and then down. But I get it all from Meadow and all from Crestview comes through my property. And I've been promised that it was going to be taken care of. They've, cleaned out the culverts or whatever, but that's like something into the wind, which pertains to water also. But thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The next one I have is Desiree Buckingham Ramirez.
Hi, Hi, I'm Desiree Buckingham Ramirez, and I live at 1562 Retreat Road in Waxahachie. The reason I came out today is I'm a local real estate agent, and the number of clients I've had that have asked me about data, how data centers in Ellis County will affect them is high. I can't tell you how many times people ask me where they're going, how they will affect home property values, which I promise you they will drop those values down. It is deterring people from moving to Ellis County, especially Red Oak, since you guys already have some. I really encourage you not to pass this. This deters people from wanting to move to this area. You live just south of Dallas. We have so much growth coming here. You don't want to deter it. They will go other places. They will go north of Dallas. They will go east and west of Dallas. They will not come to Ellis County if we continue to encourage data centers. Waxahachie's Mayor Pro Temp at the last city council, he introduced during the last bit of the city council his opinion not to allow data centers to enter the city of Waxahachie. And I implore Red Oak to do the same. You guys are putting data centers above humans. You're taking away our water for our kids. You're taking away food for our kids. You're taking away clean air for our kids. I implore you to think about children and think about the resources, the future of this community, because what we do today is going to affect us for years and years to come. So, business sense tells me this is not the highest and best use of this land. This is going to destroy the land, and you can't get it back. God only built one piece of land, one earth, and we're not going to get it back. You do this just like when you build, a laundromat, that ruins the land. You can't repurpose that land once you have these companies come in and destroy it. That land is gone forever. So I implore you to vote no, deny this, save that land for homes, save that land for growing corn, save it for use, not for AI, not for data that no one can use. Have my phone. I don't want it. If it means that I have to give up good land for data, no, thank you.
The next one I have is Amanda Smith. It's Amanda Smith. All right, if she walks back in, let me know. Or if she's left for the night, I don't know. The next one I have is Kevin Banch. I'm sorry, what? Ball, sorry.
Howdy, y'all.
How you doing, sir?
My name is Kevin Ball. I live at 1310 Pierce Road with Dr. Price back there. My family moved here in 2004. They were one of the first residents in Shiloh Downs. Then I was blessed enough to move in with my brother-in-law and sister right up the road from them. Now I'm married and I'm fixing to have my second child, and we wanted to grow in Red Oak. We want to stay in Red Oak. But with these data centers popping up all around us, it's becoming less and less viable for me as a father to be comfortable around here. It seems like you were talking about how it would be so much work to upkeep so much roads for houses. Somehow it would be difficult to upkeep this and this and this. But it's like you're selling the city of Red Oak's soul for an easy paycheck. You're not giving a chance for people to grow here anymore. You're making it like, okay, let's sell this land, let's sell this land, let's sell this land. Let's not worry about the people who are already here. Let's just get as much money as we can. It'll be good for everybody, promise. But then 5 years, 10 years down the road, where is everybody? Everyone leaves. I'm planning on leaving. If this goes through, all of my family will be leaving. My brother-in-law, my sister, my parents. You're talking about 3 generations of Red Oak people who have been here since 2004, just up and leaving because it's not viable to be here anymore. Our roads are destroyed, power grids going down all the time, water's bad. I mean, we already have like inline filters for our water at our house just for now, let alone what happens when these data centers come in. I know you said that it was a closed system, but they leak. Sometimes things happen, like water has to come from somewhere. So it's like, I really think you're trying to get a quick paycheck, not worry about the people who are already here. If they leave, oh, well, we already have our money. And then we move on. So, but that's kind of the way I feel about it. Thank you.
All right, the next one I have is Debbie Yamapa.
Hi, I'm Debbie Yamada. I live at 98 Brushy Way, about quarter mile or less from this property. This is a beautiful area. It's full of nature, butterflies, birds of prey, all kinds of beauty. And it's very rare to see that in even a rural area where we are. I like it very much. I have the same concerns as everyone else. Water, power. Our power has been out this week, I think 6 times already. What's wrong? I mean, what's wrong now? This goes in, then what happens? I have concerns about the vibrations from the generators, the air quality, the property values. We moved here in November of 2024. I'm very concerned about my property value if this goes in. Please deny this request. This is not good for the residents who live here. I don't see that it's good for the city of Red Oak. It won't attract more people to move here. It's a very bad decision to approve this. Thank you.
Next one I have is Jasmine Villegas.
Good evening, everyone. I live on 511 Pratt Road, which is a handful away from the data center that's being proposed. They discussed plans for Pratt Road for 2377, but what about what's going to go between the data center and my property, which is right now it's a tree line. What's going to go there? You did not address that. My other concern is that I already, as a retired veteran, suffer from multiple chronic conditions. I don't know how many in this room suffer from multiple chronic conditions. TBI, autoimmune, immunodeficiency. A lot of it has been either environmental from, where I've been, where I've deployed. My concern is for my children. I moved to Red Oak because I was trying to get away from the big city hustle. We currently have a homestead with animals. My children go out there, they tend to the birds, they tend to the goats, they tend to the horses. We can't have that if you put a data center there. As someone with chronic conditions, I would not want this for anyone. As some of you on the board already know, there are plenty of times that I'm on bed rest because I can't get out of bed. With the effects of the negative impact of this data center that it could bring to the environment, how many more people is this going to affect? How many more people are already predispositioned to create, these illnesses within their body. That is what we're doing. How many of our children are going to have to suffer from lupus or whatever else is out there, or whatever else is going to be created soon with all this air pollution, all this water pollution? My father used to work at waste management plant. Everything was supposed to run perfectly. Unfortunately, someone broke something, water spilled everywhere, and the environment got contaminated. People got sick. I live a hand reach away from this data center. Please don't take that away from me. I've already given my life, my health for this country. And on behalf of everyone else out there, I beg that you do not allow this. Beg. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Did Amanda Smith ever come back in? Okay. The last one I have is Stephanie Gaddis.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Gaddis. I live about 6 miles to 7 miles away from the first Google data center, and I'm already really concerned just of that one in itself. Honestly, I wish I could go back in time and knew about that ahead of time and voted against that one. So now knowing that there's that one, and now there's going to be an additional one, and they're all pulling from the same resources. They're pulling from the same electrical network, and they're pulling from the same water system. It's still rocket water. It's the same water that we all use. So I'm very concerned of how that's going to affect me, my home, my community. Am I going to have water? Is there going to be rolling blackouts that I'm not going to be able to control, all just to power this data center instead of powering our communities? I'm also very concerned about pollution in general. I don't think that's something that's been addressed, because they will have pollution. You'll have light pollution, you'll have noise pollution, you'll have air pollution from the diesel machines like burning. If you don't have electricity, they'll be burning that, and the community will smell like gas. At least that's what I've read and done so much research about communities in other places where they do have data centers as well. I'm just very concerned of how that will affect us and impact us incredibly negatively. And I do also believe that if this data center does come up, I will be moving. I honestly don't even want to be close to the one that's currently coming up. I'm very afraid of how that's going to impact my water, how it's going to impact my lights. How am I going to be smelling gas like other communities have been smelling gas? I will move if this data center goes up, and I will also honestly tell my whole community to move. I feel genuinely bad for people who live near data centers just due to all the noise and light pollution that they bring to the community, especially to the people that live right next to it, the constant humming of the engines. So I would say, please also vote no. I think there's better resources, or there's better options with the land for the community than to build a data center.
Thank you.
Okay, that was all of the papers I had turned in. Is there anybody sitting in the crowd right now that didn't turn one in, or? Okay. Please come up and.
Come to the podium. Please state your name and your address, please.
Krista Kirsteins. I also live at 218 Cobblestone Circle. We've been here since 2003. My family has been in the area for 60 years. My aunt lives on Bachelor Road, North Bachelor, right by where that one is on Steenbeck. It has totally ruined her land. She has 3 acres of property right on that corner of Bachelor and Steenbeck. It's restored her land. I am concerned about my health benefits and things that are caused. I get migraines and anxiety, and the sounds cause the anxiety to be worse. Steady hum makes things a lot worse on my part, and that's why I'm pissed. But I really wish that you guys would reconsider this. We are going to be surrounded. There are 3 of them. There's the one to the west, the one over on Bachelor, and then there's going to be one to our south. That's not acceptable. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
put
Okay.
mine online too.
Okay.
I brought a prop.
What is your name, ma'am?
Sorry.
I'm Heidi Johanna. I've lived at 103 Brushy Way
Okay.
for 30 some years. This is Oglesby Road as it was just a couple years ago. You who may not live around there to know what it looks like. It is beautiful, as people have said. I walk on that road every day, probably 5-6 miles for the last 20 years, thousands of miles. And I've always known it's going to change. I mean, it's inevitable. I always kind of hope maybe some homes would go in with large lots so other people could enjoy our lifestyle. But I don't want to see a data center there. There are other places that they can go. And I feel like they're using Red Oak as a dumping ground. I mean, I think that's what they're saying. It's like that Mikey commercial with Life cereal. Oh, give it to Mikey. He eats anything. Well, give it to Red Oak. They'll take it. So, no.
Good evening. My name is Gloria Hernandez, and I submitted this online. This is on behalf of my friend who can't be here. She's really sick. Her name is Ashley Kenson. And these are some questions that we want answered. The first one is, what enforceable limits will be written into permits? What happens if those limits are exceeded? Will there be noise barriers or setback distances? Will there be limits on water usage or requirements for recycled water? Where is this water coming from? Where is it being sourced? What is the total power demand? What grid upgrades are required, and can you guarantee residents will not see higher rates or reduced reliability as a result? I know you said the decibel levels will be 85. Will those limits be measured? I'm sorry. Yes, will those limits be measured and enforced with penalties if exceeded? Have any agreements, incentives, or approvals already been signed? And will the full documentation be made publicly available under the Texas Public Information Act before final approval? And then the final question is, what legally binding conditions will be attached to this project? And what are the penalties or shutdown provisions if the developer exceeds water, noise, or energy commitments? Please listen to the residents of this community and vote no. Thank you.
I've got a form from Jeremy Galvin.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Galvin. My address is 1587 Stainback Road, Red Oak, Texas. And we recently, me and my wife, purchased our first home here. And we met here in Red Oak in high school. And we moved back here. Well, that was in 2012, 2011 when we met. And we decided to move back because we loved it here. We loved, the area. We walked down the creek and, we've caught fish and enjoyed the wildlife here. I lived in Cedar Hill for 20 years, since 1997. And whenever I was exposed to Red Oak, I fell in love, and that's somewhere, this is somewhere that is very special, and I don't want to see it be torn apart. The community here is so much different than in Cedar Hill, specifically, where I experienced, I grew up there from 5 years old to, 2 years ago. So, I noticed the changes, and it's not what it was in 2012, whenever I graduated high school, but I don't think this is a right choice, and I don't think there's enough research done to make that decision yet. And I never knew what a difference, good neighbors could be until I moved out here and purchased our first home. And that, it made me feel secure knowing everybody's name. I never had that in Cedar Hill. There's people, their houses are so much closer, but you feel so much further apart. And, you know, that's something that it really made me want to stay here. But if this continues, I won't have a choice. You know, we'll have to look elsewhere. Thank you.
Okay, I've got no more written forms. I've received several online. They will all go into the record. They're just very long, so I'm not going to read them in, but they will go into the official record. But is there anybody else here right now that wants to speak? Please come up, name and address, and tell us what you want to know.
We've seen all the written ones. We all
Correct.
got copies of those, just so you guys know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Kathleen Heffron, 342 Crestview. This meeting has been very informative and I appreciate it very much. What I've learned is this is part of land that the city owns. There is not a current buyer who owns a data center that wants to build a data center on this property. But we have complete drawings of what we want it to look like and very much details of how it's going to be without any of us knowing that there is a buyer. And so it seems foolish to go and grant changes for something that might be, unless, of course, there's something behind a closed door that we don't know about and we're not talking about. If the governor of Texas is said, stop, wait, let us look at this more intently, perhaps we should wait as well and listen to their research and their findings. We have large data centers now in our city. Drive the circumference of those data centers. They look like prisons. Then drive the proposed land that this is proposed for. And ask yourself, do we really need that? Technology changes vastly in short periods of time. These data centers will be outdated and probably just in time for them to start paying taxes. And when they leave, you're going to have some pretty metal buildings and no people in town. Shut this baby down. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, so a couple other people were about to stand up or no?
Hello, my name is Lacey Hamill. I live at 448 FM 2377. I actually grew up on Carroll Lane, just around the corner, so I didn't go too far. I've been here my whole life. I gotta say, growing up and being around all of this, like has been stated, it's beautiful country, you know, you can't deny driving through there. It's like medicine, you know. I understand progress is coming, but I gotta say, I kind of expected a Dollar General out here before a data center, but you know, what can you do? I understand progress. I understand the economics behind this project, but I gotta echo the concerns of everybody else here that we don't know anything about this. And this is a lot. I am 0.25 miles from the corner of this development. I also have concerns about the noise, the light, the environmental impact. Of course, the impact to the human soul of having to see that it's very well put to say they look like prisons. You know, I hate to say it, but they do look like prisons. They really need to rehab their image. You know, if they're gonna keep coming here, maybe they need to do something about that. But I definitely echo the concerns that if even the state, as has been said, is kind of pumping the brakes on these things, saying, is this a good deal? We're losing, what is it? $3.2 billion in sales tax over the next 2 years on the moratorium on collecting these taxes from data centers. The state is looking into this. I have been brought to mind a statement that I read from Mayor Dr. Stanfield, who he's been my vet. He saved the life of my dog, my cat, great man. I'd taken to mind his words talking about data centers and how Red Oak wants to be pro-business and pro-citizen. But I gotta say, I'm really struggling to see how this is pro-citizen when we don't know what's coming. We haven't had a chance to look at this. We don't know that's really it. We don't know what's coming. We haven't had a chance to have any look into this, any input into this. I found out about this last night on Facebook, and I could barely sleep last night. I'm 0.25 miles away from this. This is gonna impact my life. Like, I've been here my whole life. My father's aunt was born in a house across the street from me. Like, you don't get much more roots than that. Like, I love this area. I know it's gonna change, but can we please consider there are other uses? Maybe put that Dollar General there. Maybe we can take it steps, baby steps here. Maybe a little data center in the corner, do they have to be that big? Like, we can investigate this. I feel like, we can investigate this. And the last thing I want to say, because I am a sappy person, I have to say this quote that's been come to mind from the beautiful words that have been stated from other people. Only when the last tree has been cut down, the last fish been caught, and the last stream poisoned will we realize we cannot eat money. And this is a quote attributed to the Cree Indians. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Everybody has to live in Red Oak to be on this commission.
Yes, ma'am. I've been out here since 2006. So I've seen growth. I've seen the traffic. I just don't stay in the house all day. I get into traffic, so we understand what you're saying.
Did somebody else want to speak? Name and address, please.
Mark Teeman, 220 South Hillside. I'm directing this at you, Mr. Hartman. You made it sound like the residential side of this thing was infeasible. Stop and think about, if you have the codes right, the developer is going to have to make the roads right and everything right if the city has all their codes in right. Now you're looking at, what'd you say, 2,500 people or houses or whatever? Okay. That can be there for how many years compared to this thing? 10 years, maybe, who knows? And plus you've got tax coming from those people constantly for however many years those houses are there. So that's all I'm going to say.
I'm Nicholas Bullock. I live off 118 Shadow Drive, Red Oak, Texas. I've been living in Red Oak all my life. And one thing I've noticed that, I talk to a lot of people at the place that I work, people always tell me they love it here. But now I'm finding out that they're building a second data center. I don't think a lot of people even like the first one that they put here. And it's like that gentleman back there said, the light pollution is serious. Like, people love Red Oak because at night you could be able to see the stars. Now I'm not be able to do that anymore, because the quality of, I guess if you put the second data center, you're going to ruin the quality of life for these people here. And I think it's not fair because a lot of people love it here. They want to be here and they want to live here. People want to retire here. And I think if you put that second data center, I think you're going to really, put a lot detrimental to a lot of people here. I mean, there's plenty of things you can use this lot here for if you really want to. Like, if I look at this lot right here, I know that Waxahachie's got like 2 nurseries. Why can't Red Oak have one? Red Oak, I mean, that's plenty of space that you can utilize that lot for if the city of Red Oak really wants to do anything with it, or just leave it as it is. People love it. That's just for a blank. I do. I live not that far. If you put that second data center, I can tell you right now, like, I'm not going to be able to have the same quality of life that I did. And it's going to suck because I know for a fact, like, like today, like my power went out and I think if I had a guess, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with that first data center. If I had a guess, I mean, I don't want to, I'm not saying I'm 100% though, but you know, I never had this kind of power outage ever since this first data center got here, you know, and only thing I just gotta say is that just please say no to this, because I think if y'all put this second data center, I think you guys are gonna really hurt a lot of people here in the city of Red Oak. And I think that it's like, you know, what the lady said here. I think this city will be a ghost if y'all put this second data center. Thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Are you speaking for yourself now or the other person?
What other person?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
I'm Daisy Posaz, live on 1582 Stainback Road. So there's actually the other data center that they just built. It's still in the process up the street. I just speak, my neighbors are also here. I feel like I can speak for the behalf of Stainback. We like to walk. We like to walk with our dogs. And we notice in a tremendous amount, Stainback has always been quiet. We have cyclists that come out there. There's like a cycle thing that happens every now and then, every few months, a bunch of cyclists come on Pratt and on Stainback. But I just noticed, and we had noticed an increase of traffic, and the data center has not opened. We also had noticed when they built the loop, apparently I was told that the face of the data center is on Stainback, and I just don't understand why. And, you know, we have kids, we have, you know, older community there. People have lived there for a long time, or are my new neighbors now. And so it's just a concern because we had a high traffic of 18-wheelers coming through because they didn't know where to go. Now they're having to hire, if they're going to hire a bunch of people that are going to work at that data center, like apparently, because it's facing Stainback, we're going to see an influx of more traffic. And that's just a major concern as a citizen here at Red Oak for a very long time. I mean, my parents have lived here for a long time, and just seeing that traffic come through. And my concern is just like, is someone going to get hit one day? You know, because people are flying. I'm talking about flying like fast on Stainback when they shouldn't be. And it's people that we don't know. I've never seen these cars. And it's just like a concern of ours is like when the data center opens there, you know, people just don't know the neighborhood. They don't know these streets, and it's, you know, it's bumpy. We've had 18-wheelers get stuck on Niconomis and Loop 9, and it's caused traffic because I work in East Dallas, you know. I love the Loop 9 because it's an easier path for 45, but I just wish that there was also that, like, we didn't even know, us people on Stainback didn't know that there was going to be a data center built there until last minute. And I live across the old mayor, Alan Hughley, and he was like, you know, it is what it is. And instead of building 800 and something homes, but it's just, it's a very bad eyesore. Nothing can be done now, but I'm just saying, like, for the other citizens that live near this plot of land, like, what is it can be done? And we're just saying no, and to please consider everything that we have. Thank you.
Anybody else? Everybody has spoken that wanted to speak. If you make it very quick, sir.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to add that on Stainback, that is a no truck road. Gross weight capacity of 40,000, and there's, you know, rivers that run through there and creeks, and 18-wheelers shouldn't be coming down there. You know, it's not, we can't control what the truck companies do or what the drivers do, but we need to do a better job of enforcing that to not ruin the road, you know, and to protect the citizens and children and everything. Like she said, we do go outside and walk. So, you know, we walk our dogs and cyclists. So we need to protect the people from that encroaching in the neighborhoods that aren't supposed to be there.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
One additional thing to add that I forgot to mention earlier. Hi, Kaylee Kirsteins again. You mentioned it could be either used for AI or Bitcoin. Bitcoin uses a lot of energy. I know a lot of the people here, I mean this in the nicest way possible, are in an older age group, so they do or may not be aware of this, but Bitcoin is like so much power. It will throttle everything. It'll take all of our energy away. And AI only can be cooled by water. So if it goes into being Bitcoin, all of our energy's gone. If it goes to water, AI will steal all of our water. Those are two things that are just, that I forgot to mention in my statement earlier, sorry.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Guys, we
You
can't-
already
you
had,
know,
you had
we
3
can't
minutes.
keep
I'm
going
sorry.
here. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, we had 3 minutes.
Yeah,
And-
I'm sorry. We can't just keep going off because
Yes, ma'am. We've been taking notes of everything you all been saying. Thank you.
is anybody not spoken that wants to speak?
That wants to speak.
Hi, I'm Debbie McAfee, and I've lived here for 30 some odd years. I assume y'all are the city planners and y'all are deciding what's comes in and what doesn't come in. I have a question. I'm a little confused. How many of these data centers do we already have or currently have going in Red Oak? Is it 3 or 4?
This is one campus. Here's a second campus.
So you
There's-
have Steinbach,
Yes,
you have Houston School Road,
correct.
and you have Ovilla Road and 342. There's a Google one going in,
Correct,
and this would be the 4th one.
correct.
Were y'all the same board that made the decision for the other ones?
Yes, these all had to come before zoning.
Okay, I rest
Yes-
my case.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Steve McAfee. I live at 111 Shadow Drive. I have a question for each one of y'all who's going to vote on this. How many of y'all live next to it? How many of y'all live next to it?
Your data center?
Yeah, the one they're going to put in there. Y'all live right next to it?
Not to that.
I mean, you don't, but you're going to vote on it. We live next to it. We moved out there. We live there. And y'all don't even live by it and y'all are voting for it. Y'all need to think about this because it's going to take a lot more than just y'all's vote to get this in there. Now, you see how all the people feel about it,
Yes, sir.
but y'all don't even live by it, but you're ready to vote for it. Think it's going to bring more stuff to the Red Oak? It's not. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Betty Tiemann. We live at 220 South Hillside. We've been in Red Oak for 42 and a half years. We love Red Oak. Our kids were raised here. They graduated from high school here, went on to have successful careers. I have concerns that everybody else has already brought up. The drain on our utilities, the drain on the power grid. What's it doing to the environment? What's it going to do to us, our citizens? I think this is a thing that has not been researched enough. We don't know the long-term effects. I had a cousin who's lived in a house next to one of these great big huge power lines. And he developed migraine headaches after they moved in and he had to move. I wonder what these data centers are going to do to us. The other thing I want to know, and I want you all to think about this, and I want to know, how is this going to directly benefit the citizens of Red Oak? And if you can't answer that question, then we don't need it. We don't need it anyway. We don't want it. Vote no. Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Got it. I need you to come up now if you got something to say. If not, our city manager would like to say a few things during the open session here. Todd Fuller? Oh, okay.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Move to close the public hearing?
All in favor?
I'll second.
Please. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing has been closed. Okay,
Come up
Tom?
here where y'all don't have to strain your neck looking around. Is that on? I'm on. So wanted to, try to address several of the things that I've heard, and I've been over there writing away frantically. So I'm sure I didn't get all of them, but I'll try to address what I did hear. Let me start with electricity. So electricity, they do use a lot of electricity. There's no question about that. But we have a grid problem today, regardless of whether we have data centers or we don't have data centers. We know that from back when Uri came through. We didn't have the transmission to get the electricity to the locations where it needed to go. What we've got now is a problem that's got to be fixed, but we have people that are willing to pay to fix that problem. So the data centers are going to be putting in the electric lines and creating the need for the generation that will be placed from the marketplace to basically restructure our grid in a way that it works. I think what you see with some of the power outages you have now, you may have some, but I'm pretty sure they don't last as long as they used to. I will say on water that a data center, well, let me back up. So we've got on the ground being developed right now, the Compass campus, the Google campus, the data bank campus are all on the ground right now, under construction. There's some others that have been planned and so forth, but that's what's on the ground under construction. So we've got 21 actual buildings. You know, you got 10 buildings in one campus, 8 buildings in another campus, 3 buildings in another campus. And of all of those 21, there is one of them, the very first one, that's water cooled. All the rest of them, the technology has just changed. That used to be something that really was a concern. You know, if these data centers come in, they're going to use up all your water. That's not the concern at this point. They do bring in a lot of infrastructure to help water though. So in areas where there may be smaller water lines, they're bringing in big water lines because even though they're not using water, they have to have fire protection. So where you have small 2-inch and 4-inch lines in some cases in some of the rural areas, that won't work to put out the fires in the data centers if that happens. And, you know, hopefully it never happens, but hopefully nobody's house ever burns either. But the point is they have to have fire protection, which is mandated by this board and by council and by ordinance. And to do that, they've got to bring in a lot bigger water lines into the areas in which they're going into, just to provide that fire protection, even though they're not using the water. So what that does is it provides more water to the residents that live in those areas. So you're going to have better water. You're going to have newer infrastructure in those areas. Traffic, I think everybody's talked about traffic. What I would say is, in like Steinbeck area, I heard that question a minute ago. So the traffic is basically while it's under construction. So you have a lot of construction workers coming in to build these data centers. Once they are constructed and they're open, the traffic significantly reduces. There's just not that many employees that work in there. Speaking of the employees, they have worked with TSTC, Texas State Technical College here in Red Oak, at their campus to put together a program to hire people locally. So we've got kids in high school have the ability to go through programs with TSTC so that they can go to work directly after high school and get jobs with some of these data centers. Not a lot of them, I'll agree with that. But the ones that are available pay well. So The one thing that I failed to mention on the electrical is when I said they're paying for it, so the ratepayers, which is what you all, it's not the only thing y'all are worried about, but y'all are worried about, will your electric bills go up? They are the ones that are paying the bill. Yeah, they're the ones that are bringing the infrastructure in. That's what's going on down in Austin with ERCOT and PUC and so forth, making sure that that does not impact your residential or your business electric bills. As I said, they're not big water users, so it's really not going to have much impact at all on your water. And it is going to benefit and improve the infrastructure that you have. Let's see. Area property values. I can't say what it's going to do to anybody's individual property value. But we did go in and just while we were sitting here, looked up one that was across the road from the one on Houston School Road. And that was in 2020 was valued at 78,000. 2026 is valued at 214,000. Yeah. I can't help it. That's just off the Ellis County Appraisal District. That's off the Ellis County Appraisal District. So you can believe it or not, hey, my dad grew up right here in Red Oak. I've been in Ellis County for 56 years. I wouldn't have any problem with a data center. I would not. These folks right here live next door to data centers. Hey, let's calm down and let me talk. We've sat here and let y'all talk, and I'm going to try to address some of these issues. So let me address them. I'm not BSing you. I'm trying to tell you.
So before we started,
these things.
Sir. So before we started, we kind of told you all the parameters. And y'all just listen to both sides. We sit here and listen to everyone here. We have the city manager here talking. He's trying to explain some of these items on here. Can y'all just let the man talk, please?
So I will tell you that we do know who the developer is on this. It's not a secret. It's under contract with Compass Data Centers. I mean, that's not a big secret. Compass Data Centers is the same one that's over on Houston School Road. If you want to go on to the comptroller's website, you can find out who their tenant is in that location. And comptroller's website says it's Microsoft. So those are the types of businesses that you're dealing with. So it's not that the city's just trying to do this without an end user or a developer or anything else. It is under contract for a specific data center. It was initiated by the city. When what? Well, we started buying land out there, 2 or 3 years ago. The zoning, I can't help that. I don't know whether Mr. Hartman knows that or not.
What do you ask?
There is. That's all I can tell you. The city does have clear authority. So I heard that question come up as whether it's the authority of the city or the county or whoever. It is in the city limits, which is why some of the property, like Mr. Sustaya, that's why his is blocked out and not shown, is because that property is not in the city limits. So we're not zoning property that's not inside the city limits. There is stuff behind the white spot, but we're not zoning that today because that's not inside the city limits and we can't zone it. So. It would have to be brought back. If that is brought into the city and they do buy that, then it would have to be brought back to do that. Yes. It would. So the concept plan would have to come back to amend it to add that into it. So how does it directly benefit citizens? So you see these ball fields right back behind here? And the ones that were paid for primarily with data center money. Oh, they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. Okay, if y'all don't want to know the answers to these, just tell me, because I'm going through and trying to explain to you. Well, I sat there and didn't rebuttal anybody. I sat there very quietly and wrote down my little issues, and I'd like to have my time to speak too.
Like we said before, we gave you all the parameters before we started. Could y'all please let him address? No, ma'am, you can't speak again. We gave you all time. That's why we did this.
So I heard something about construction timeline, and, you know, the school's gonna be under construction out there, and they don't want that to be the same time as this going on. There's very little chance that that'll happen. This is not something that's going to be constructed in the next year or two. This is a process where this is the first thing they have to do. They have to get their zoning in place before they will go ahead and close on the property. They've got to get their electrical commitments and put up their money to bring in the infrastructure for the electrical from ERCOT and Encore and PUC. So that is going to take a while. That's not going to be a situation where we have two big projects under construction at the same time. Going back to Steinbeck, I'll agree there is probably more traffic going on out there than there should be. We actually have written into the ordinance out there, which most of the truck drivers do follow it and come off of Loop 9, but occasionally there are some that don't. And we try to deal with those as they happen. We work with the data center that's developing that, and they try to help us as well. Light pollution is something that we can include in the regulations so that it does not bleed off into other properties. Sound, I think we do have one that is limited at 70 decibels, Ben?
Yes.
So I think we can try to work on that and lower this one down to the 70 decibels as well. Yes, it's 100% legal for the IDC, the Industrial Development Corporation, which is the sales tax arm of the city. And that's specifically what their job is to bring in industry and business. And that's part of the way that they do that. So yes, it is. Well, I know. Trust me, we work on Kroger's, we work on HEB's, we work on Tom Thumbs, everybody. I get it. I get it. We talk to those guys too. We're blue in the face, but it takes a lot to get them here. Outdated on the data centers. The technology will change, and we've talked to all of the data centers about that. They're going to smaller and smaller chips. When they do that, that requires a lot more cooling though. So instead of just building additional data centers, those chips go into the same buildings eventually when they're available, but they just have more space in between them. So you don't have as many, but you have more computing power. At least that's our understanding of it. Generators. So curtailment, when you do get into a peak time period, and this is something that the state legislature did with SB 6 in the last session to try to help with that concern, is when you do get into those peak conditions, they curtail the electricity to the large load data centers and other large load electrical users, and they have to provide their own electricity, and I think it's for like 3 to 5 days. So there will be generators running occasionally when you get into those peak conditions, and there will be testing at times. but it's very little. They're there primarily for emergency backup. So that also helps that when you do have those peak conditions, when everybody's trying to run their heaters or their air conditioners or whatnot, they're off the grid. They are not having to drain. Now, that isn't going to happen very often within a year. You know, there may be 2 or 3 times in a year at most that happens. But it's important that they're able to curtail that during those time periods. So I heard something about high-tech industrial park. So part of the issue with this being a high-tech industrial park and in the ordinance, maybe we can more specifically state that it's for data centers and related items, specifically take out Bitcoin, because nobody here is talking about Bitcoin, but you know, we all know that's not good. But what they have done over in the Compass existing data center over there is they have added 2 buildings. One they sold to an electrical manufacturer who has brought in, you know, transformer production that will work for all of the different data centers. So they're building those things locally that go into these data centers, and they're hiring people locally to do that. They also worked with TSTC for a program to build those things. They've also gone in and built a 50,000 square foot building. It's under construction to house some of the indirect jobs. So they'll have HVAC companies, they'll have Cummins diesel people, electricians, and those type of folks that will work in these areas, but not specifically for the data centers. And that way they have a base of operations here in Red Oak. So while you may not be working for the data center, you might have the opportunity to work for the HVAC contractor who's working on these HVAC units. Now, we have not considered a tax abatement on this at this point. We have done them for others, and I'm sure we'll be considering one for this one too. I think we actually approved a enterprise zone for this one at the last council meeting, but we won't have that tonight. So if this comes in, the current value, because all of the other data centers are not on the books yet, they're all still under construction, they don't have COs. You're looking at currently our net taxable value within the city is 3.15 billion for everything in the city prior to data center. Data center for this one is going to be 9.4 billion. So you're almost tripling the value within the community, which allows over time the ability to build burning lanes, to build the rec centers and the senior citizen centers without having to increase taxes and being able to over time reduce taxes at the same time paying for these things and being able to get the resources that we don't have. That's the whole plan behind this. Is you go out and this is just an example. You go out and you build what did you say, 3,200 lot subdivision. It's not about us having to go put in the roads. It's us about having to maintain them. It's us about having to hire all the police officers and so forth, and all of the ongoing operation and maintenance costs to be able to provide services to those 3,200 lots. With this, we basically have no services required. It's one big thing. They have their own security. They are self-contained. We get a lot of revenues off of it without having to have a lot of expenditures, which allows us to gradually reduce that tax rate to be able to benefit the citizens. And on the school district side, they don't have the ability to do tax abatements. So everything that comes in from the school district side works for their debt service. The way the school district works is they have O&M tax rate and they have a debt tax rate. So you have Robin Hood, and I'm trying to explain this as easy as I can because it's hard for me to understand it. But you got Robin Hood in Texas. You're allowed to collect so much money from your taxes based on the number of students that you have. And then if you don't collect that much money, then the state fund will supplement you so that you're able to have that money. If you collect more than what's required, then the state will take away some of that money on the M&O side. Doesn't do anything though to the debt side. So it allows the school district to have the capital projects and build, like we just talked about with the school construction over there. Over time, they won't have to go out and necessarily do bonds to do some of that. And if they do, it can still be with lower tax rates or without increased tax rates. But that only works on the debt side, the INS side of their tax equation. So I think I've answered the ones that I've written down, and I appreciate y'all letting me finish. I know you all don't like it, but I'm just trying to give you the other perspective of what we're looking at. So.
All right. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate you.
Oh, I would add one thing. So another thing that we can try to address with them is some of the screening. When you're in the city limits, we have a requirement that different zoning districts have screening between them. When you're outside the city limits, that doesn't apply, but we can try to address that with them and create berms and so forth, even in some of those areas that are outside the city limits, which probably are most of y'all.
How do you get annexed?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is I think we've worked with them in the past and they've worked well with us and done the things we've asked them on the other developments. I'm pretty confident that they're going to understand the concerns that you all have. And I see you shaking your head, but that's what I'm saying. We can, as we're doing this with planned development zoning. If we were doing this with a straight industrial type zoning district, then we couldn't require that. But since we're doing it with planned development zoning, that's part of the reason why I keep hearing, we're making all these changes to the ordinance and so forth, because most of the things that we're doing with decibels and screening and light pollution and those type things would not be required if we were in a straight zoning district. So that's why we're trying to put it into a planned development so that we can address some of those, regardless of about whether the next door neighbor is a county resident or a city resident. There's five of them.
We're here to vote. Yes, ma'am. That's why we're on the board.
That's right.
We make the recommendation to city council. City council is who you voted for. They'll ultimately decide, but also city council, who you voted for, appointed us. So indirectly, you guys had a say.
Yes, ma'am. That's why y'all invited here tonight. We're not trying to hide it. That's why y'all are here. That's why y'all got the.
So,
right. That's why we had you all here.
Coming into Red Oak with their mission statement is DPI, and Mr. Fuller was up there. It's all about the Industrial Revolution.
Ma'am, I think we're getting off topic. We're talking about, yes, yes, we are.
Remember anything about industrial?
Do we have a chance to ask our questions?
Ma'am, he's just trying to explain, if you have any questions, we're just trying to explain the questions that way you're informed. We're not, if he's trying to answer your questions, I mean, why are you giving Mr. Todd a hard time?
Guys,
all you're doing.
we're done. The discussion with the public is now over. The public meeting is, the public session of the, is now closed. Commissioners, do y'all have any, comments or, questions for staff?
I know somebody was saying that you can smell diesel burning. Can y'all address that? Diesel fuel burning at these facilities?
I have not smelled any diesel fuel burning. We've actually had several cities that are looking at data centers that are coming in.
Right.
And they have come in with a lot of those questions. So they wanted to come out and see ours because we have, 3 buildings, I think, that are operational. So they came out and looked at them and said, oh my gosh, this is not anything like what we were concerned about. You know,
Right.
the traffic on the road is more noise than what we're hearing from this data center. And there's no smell, none of the concerns that we have heard. We don't experience them while we're standing here.
Okay.
It's our turn to ask questions, please.
So we close the public hearing. I'm sorry.
So on the roads that y'all showed, the eventual 6-lane roads and that sort of thing, is that built out eventually by county and TxDOT, or is the data center going to contribute to that?
So the internal stuff would be built by the actual developer of the data centers, and the external roads would just be the right-of-way dedications.
Okay.
Would I personally, just me, I've walked through a data center. I can't say which one, but it's not in this county. It's very quiet, like a library. I didn't know that till I walked in there. And the employees stay there. It's food. That way they're not leaving there for lunch or anything like that. But I was really surprised when I walked in the data center. The structure of it, how quiet it was. I walked by the servers. I'm looking around. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's the bad thing about these data centers as far as noise? I'm just talking about noise, because there's a lot of rumors out there that they make so much noise, and this data center is huge in Fort Worth, and they're adding on to it probably as we speak, but it's just so quiet once you get in there as far as noise, and that's my opinion on that. Go ahead, Kevin.
Would it be inappropriate to ask the city and the development council to hold some town halls to address some of these in maybe a less contentious
I think,
situation, and maybe to be more transparent in what's going on?
I don't know. It's already on for approval at council or for vote at
Well,
council next week.
I will say, given where we are right now, I can't approve this. Now, let me say this. I've been working in and around data centers for almost 30 years. 30 years I've been doing it. You guys talk about living here a long time. I've been doing this a long time. A lot of what you guys worry about is crap you've read off the internet, which, by the way, guess where the internet comes from? Those same data centers that you're complaining about right now. So think about what you're saying. Think about your sources.
I built them and that's not crap. I've been inside.
Not, well, so have I. So have I. I didn't say it all was, but a lot of it is. So that being said,
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Yeah, the public hearing has been closed.
right there, because I'm gonna step on a lot of toes, so.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Commissioners, Y'all have anything? Kevin, Susie?
Nope. I'm
Anything?
not saying another word.
Do they do environmental studies before these kinds of things?
No, we don't have any requirements for them now.
What would it take to require that? What kind of situations do require that?
It's Texas. We don't do any.
Okay.
Anyone else? Any other comments, anything? All right, can I have a motion for, agenda item 5, please?
I would suggest a reduction in the noise level to 70 dB and screening screening where possible on, against residential properties in any motion.
You guys ready to vote?
Yeah. Are y'all ready? Y'all need some more time to think about it? I'm just asking.
And light pollution, Ben.
And a light pollution clause.
Can we stipulate the setback? The schematic looked like it was really close to the property line.
So that,
Cartoonish.
It was
So-
on there. What's it? Can you bring that back up?
yeah, Greg, can you pull back the, can you give me back the, screen? Sorry.
He was asking Greg to put it back on the screen.
So the orange is the actual building. So if I go back to that existing one, you can see that the building setback, let me get some distance there. About 150 feet from the actual property line. And that's, and then the road, right? Based on that schematic. So it had the road, which is 65 feet of right of way, then the fire lane, which is going to be a minimum of 16 feet wide, then that kind of area here, that open area before you actually get to the orange building. So you're looking at from like, if this house right here, it'd be 65 plus 16 plus that, whatever that 150 I just measured off on the existing. Whoops. If that makes sense to everyone. Whoops. All right. This one?
Yeah, the end is how far is the end?
Yeah, so you'd be looking at a very similar. So it's the kind of cream area, then that yard area plus the fire lane.
To the right, on the right.
I'm sorry, here?
The road.
I was looking at it.
That's Pratt Road.
So how far
So
from-
Pratt Road's 100 feet wide, 100-foot wide right of way, then the fire lane, then the front of the building. So then it would be facing, instead of being the side of the building here, it'd just be this small front part. And that looks like that.
So would that mean that do this, expanding the road, it would take away, we have to move our bank on right now because of that right away we gave up?
You gave it up on Oglesby? Okay, I don't, that was not platted through the city, so I don't know what the right of way taking was. I could look at it, but it's only a 65-foot right of way. So if you gave 50, then it should be enough. I don't know though. I don't know the answer to that because I don't know what your survey and plat showed.
Can we require a berm to go around it and then the fencing and landscaping on top?
Yes, yeah, so screening, that'd be berming with landscaping and fencing on the top, whatever.
Like a 6-foot berm or?
Sure, whatever stipulations you want to put on it. I'm sorry, I'm not sure which one 511 is. This one?
Yeah, no.
That's
my cleaner. Right, always back for that.
So like I said, with this layout, the building is the cream, and then you've got that yard area, and then the fire lane there. So it'd be over 180 feet to the building-ish. There's not one yet, with the landscape plan hasn't been done for the site.
Well,
But this is-
that's what we were just
talking
talking about.
This is what we're saying right now. We'd like to have a big
Yeah.
berm there and then the fence and landscaping on top of it to further shield it. We're setting that ordinance right now.
He's cherry picking words, and it's not the whole thing.
This document public knowledge that you're looking at.
You can request it, yes. Yes.
I've tried that before with other data centers in the city. I got reaction from Google, Meta. So I feel like it's.
There's things that can be deemed by our attorneys as
Or the attorney
confidential, or yeah, the attorney general, sorry.
And this is my opinion. I'm kind of going with Kevin about these town halls. You know, for the residents, I think it's best to have something like this because this is going on across Texas. These debates, these data centers, denial. That's not nothing new. And I think there's a lot of just information floating around regarding these data centers. It's all these opinions and traffic, power surges, abatements, all this stuff. I think it needs to be more educated to citizens here in this city and all across Texas, because I think there's a lot of just information floating around.
My concern is, I'm certainly wanting to hear what the citizens have to say, and I want to be able to answer the citizens' questions. But my concern is that when we try to answer them, everybody shakes their head and makes comments like they don't believe us. So I'm willing to have town halls, but if we're not going to get respect back from the citizens, it doesn't feel like it's going to get us anywhere.
That's what we found on projects in the past, which is why we haven't done very many of them. But because you'll have the town hall, and it's just another version of the public hearings where it doesn't do anything, doesn't change anybody's mind.
I would say too, maybe, like you're saying, Todd, I do agree with that. Maybe the contractor or the ones that's building these buildings, these large national contractors, they can probably shed a lot of light too on how these buildings are built and technology and what's changing. I've seen some of these data centers, just reading about them. Some of them are gas powered. Now they're going with batteries. It's definitely changing, from the electricity grid. So that's based on what I've read online. But you have to think about it. Once I research something, where's the data at? It's at the data center. I have 2 phones. It's like maybe it's four or five phones in my house. Where is that data stored? NFL.com. Where's that data stuff stored? Where are these football games? And you taking pictures and texting and things of that sort. That's what's driving these data centers. People think that's not them, but it is. When you go to HEB, you buying stuff. Amazon, you buying stuff all night. That's where it's coming from. My mom didn't use anything. She used to go to the store. Now she's at home. She's ordering stuff off of Amazon. Where is that data stored? Where are these credit card accounts stored? So
And it's not just that, it's the software applications themselves.
yeah, the software.
Which is what the biggest issue is with most of the hyperscalers is typically gonna be the software, and the apps.
Microsoft. People talk about Microsoft. It's probably behind everything in here, but we like, well, we want speed, but that's what's driving it. Is everybody's using it. All these apps, all these payroll softwares, that's what's driving it. When you're talking about AI, where's this information stored? Right. Right. And they use software too, right? Management software, your 401k, where's your 401k stored? And I'm just giving you an example. I'm not trying to debate. I'm just saying, where's your 401k information stored? Right. That's it. Commissioners, y'all have anything else? Anything? All right. Sorry, sir.
Before we do this, can you read what you have in there already?
Okay.
I've got a suggestion to lower the decibel rating to 70 from 85, to add screening around the site from existing residential properties via berming, landscaping, and fencing, and to add in light pollution as to not cross property lines, and the setbacks set at a minimum of 150 feet from the property line, based on our measurements we took.
Do we need to address construction hours?
Yes, we can add construction hours if you would like that. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
What's the normal hour?
Now, there's gonna be times when they're pouring concrete that sometimes you can't do it within those hours because it's too hot. So there will be occasionally that they'll have to get permission to go outside of those.
But they would have to get permission.
Right.
Is that the environmental study?
Yeah, no,
That's
we
not
don't have anything like that.
Nothing like that. Anything else, commissioners? Anything that y'all want to add or? Okay. All right. And is everybody ready to vote? Okay.
Get a motion.
And can I have a motion for agenda item 5, please?
Yeah, he was just reading all the
Yeah.
additions to the
Condition.
Ben, do you just want to read a motion and? if
I'll
somebody-
read a motion with the changes. A motion that, or I would ask that someone would motion the approval of the agenda item as presented with the following adjustments: lowering the sound requirements to 70 decibels from 85, adding a screening requirement for any development that's done adjacent to existing residential properties, whether they're in the city or not, with berming and landscaping and fencing, to require that any lighting on the site not cross the property lines or be directed across property lines, to require a minimum setback for the buildings of 150 feet, and to restrict construction hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I was thinking berming all the way around. That feasible?
Yep. No,
Not from us.
no.
SCPA and TCEQ.
When you talk about decibels, are you talking about the generator?
Sound, just the
Just
sound.
the sound.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Including generators, right?
Right.
Okay. Can I have a motion based on what being just stated, please?
I move that we approve agenda item 5, right? With the stipulations that Ben read out for us.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? One, it's me, aye. My vote is aye. Aye, that's 2. Nays?
Nay.
Nay.
2 ayes, 3 nays. Agenda item 5 is not approved tonight on the planning zone.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're just recommending.
I just wanted to
Hold
be
on,
clear.
hold up just a
I
minute.
just want to be clear with everyone. That's a recommendation from the planning and zoning, but it's still going to the city council. Yeah. When is,
May 11th is the council meeting.
so city council made 11.
City council, May 11th.
Okay. All right. And can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Planning and zoning commission